It's time for Shawn and Maya in the morning.
Quick pitch to Walter, looking for the record, cuts back, he's got it, he's out of it at 25 to the 26-yard line. Walter Payton becomes the National Football League all-time leading rusher. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship. Chicago has won the Stanley Cup. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, throw to Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this House Music Monday edition. Man, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra. Man, we have a phenomenal show for you. It's game day, baby. Our Bears take on the Los Angeles Rams in Tinseltown, and I'm excited. It's a primetime event, the only game on the slate tonight. And, you know, we have a lot of anticipation for this game. Guys, listen, if you're watching this on first of all, thanks for tuning in. If you're watching this on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. Now, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, first of all, thank you for subscribing on our YouTube channel. If you're not, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, SportsZone Chicago. But if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, then I guess you found us on the YouTube channel. Now, if you're watching us on our app, well, then I guess you found us on the app. And make sure you do us a favor, download the app, SportsZone Chicago, wherever you get your apps from. Okay, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, wherever you get them from. Download the app. You can take us on the go with you and watch us at all times. Now, listen, guys, you can tweet the show. You can tweet us at SM_mornings, or you can tweet us at SportsZone Shy. That's CHI at SportsZone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, just me personally online, want to know what I did? Let me tell you what I did. Want to know what I did? Here's what I did. I made it nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, the Snapper. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Akai, you can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. If you want to follow her on Instagram, because you do it just for the gram, just follow her at Maya Akai_Akai. It's MAYA_AKAI. Listen, we got a great show for you today, but I need you to get interactive with us today. So here's what I need you to do. If you're watching this on Facebook Live, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, or if you're watching us on the app, here's what I need you to do. I need you to leave a question or comment right here on the post. And my producer, well, I'll bring up in a second, is going to come up, and he'll post it on the screen, and we'll talk about it. We'll interact with you. We'll get your thoughts, your question. Just make sure it's not some off-the-wall craziness. We don't want any of that nonsense. But anyway, yeah, but most of our fans are good. Alex, what's up, Papa? How we doing, man? We got a texter already. Alex, what's up, buddy? How are you? Good. Listen, I got a great show for you. When I say I got a great show for you, I am not bull jiving. At 9 o'clock, my boy, we're waiting for him to get back in the green room. Joseph Phillips is going to join me during the top of the morning segment from 9 to 10, and we're going to talk about all of the hot topic. So he's going to join us at 10 o'clock. My man, he is one of the premier guys. When you want your baseball information, this is one of the top 3 guys in the country. Bob Nightingale from USA Today. He's calling in today. We had an amazing game, or amazing games over the weekend in the World Series. Oh my goodness. It was wild. If you watch Saturday's game, the way they scored at the end, unbelievable to tie the series. If you watch yesterday, Clayton Kershaw, let me tell you something. This guy is really trying to dispel those demons, those World Series demons that he has. So we're going to talk to Bob Nightingale at 10 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, our guy, he sits with me for the last hour of the show. He is Jason Palmer. He's going to join us. But also at 11 o'clock, we have Lucas Perfetti. Lucas Perfetti from the OnTap Sportsnet. He's going to call in and talk with us and finish up our Bears preview for the day. I'll tell you what, it is exciting. It's game day. I'm telling you what, I am so fired to freak up. You don't even believe it. I don't even know. You see, I got my shirt on today, my Lucky Bears shirt. I'm 5-1 in this shirt this year. So I am looking to go 6-1 in this shirt. And just in case you guys are wondering, I do wash it after every game. So I just unfolded it this morning and put it on. But it's going to be looking forward to go 6-1 with a big win over the Rams. And guys, you know what? Let me bring him out real quick because I know he's got some stuff to do, but I didn't want to forget introducing you to him. He is the producer. He is the man behind the curtain. He is the whiz, as we call him. He's the man that makes it all work. He is my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife, Ivan Vargas. Ivan, what's up, Papa?
Good morning, Shawn. What's going on? Game day, baby. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I was ready to go yesterday. I was ready to go yesterday, and we were doing the show. We were doing the show yesterday and stuff, and everything was going smooth. And then that last part, we covered it was the final, the Bucks and the Raiders, and we're covering the post game. And I'm getting texts from people like, "Hey, we can't hear you." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "You can't hear me?" And I'm looking at everything, and everything's going smooth. And I guess when I had moved the computer, everything kind of resetted. Like I moved it onto the TV so we could watch the Bucks Raiders game. And I guess everything kind of reset. So you were just seeing me. Well, I promise you, today we'll have sound.
Okay, good. That's definitely a good thing. Oh man, but today's gonna be a great day. You know, in my words of Ice Cube, today is a good day, and we have a lot of sports to talk about. We got Bears, a lot of Bears to talk about. We got some Big Ten action to talk about. I'll tell you what, there was some great games in the Big Ten this week in Indiana. Woo, Charlie, watch out. Northwestern, how you doing? All right. And Illinois, ooh, wow. We'll talk about that in a moment. Ohio State, they rolled. No big deal. So there's a lot of sports to talk about. So let's get to it. Guys, you know how we do the first segment of every show. It's called Top of the Morning to you. And these are the hot topics of the night before or just of sports in general. And boy, oh boy, do we have some doozies. And, the Top of the Morning segment is powered by the Chicago Crusader. And with that, I want to bring in their guy, our guy, your guy, the one and only. He is the sports director over there. You can find him on Twitter at ACA Joe. And he's back from NYC. Pump it up, NYC. Bring him in, Joseph Phillips. Joseph, what's up, Papa?
Good morning, Papa. God bless. I got a little different setup here today. I guess I couldn't get on through my Mac, so I'm on my phone today, so it's a little different.
Okay. All right.
Can you hear me?
Are you home yet?
Yeah,
Are you still in NYC?
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You can still hear me.
Yep. Are you back home or are you in New York City still?
Okay, perfect. Okay, it's just a little lag there. I'm sorry. Yes, definitely back home. Once I got back home, I had to do 3 stories, knock those 3 stories out.
Okay.
Went to bed at 4, just woke up like 30 minutes ago, ready to go.
Dude, you're a trooper, baby. You're a gamer.
That's the life of a journalist. Straight off New York, straight off the plane, baby. Let's do this. Game time.
Good stuff. Good stuff. How was your weekend in New York City?
Oh man, amazing with a capital A. King of the Hill, A number 1. Can't get no better than that. Yankee Stadium. Start spreading the news.
Did you took a tour? Did you take a tour at Yankee Stadium?
Yeah, we went to Yankee Stadium. My son, wife, and I visited. Took a picture with Babe Ruth. Hello, babe. Stood on the logo. Took a picture there. We were in the Bronx. Yeah, it was nice, man. It was really nice. Then we hit Park Fifth Avenue. Saw Different Strokes building. It was awesome, I got to say with Mr. Drummond and Donald Jackson and everybody hung out at. So it was cool, man.
Arnold Willis
and the Metropolitan Museum. That was beautiful.
Okay.
Arnold Willis, baby. It was beautiful, man. I felt like I was in the 80s again. When the world comes through.
I know you.
How does that
go? Different strokes for different folks, baby. And I know that was going through your as you saw the building. You're like, and the world comes through. That's good stuff.
That's right,
man.
baby.
Good stuff. Yeah, New York's crazy, man. It's wild. It's fun. It's just full of energy and never, obviously that's why they call it. And it was, so you're down in Manhattan, you're up in the boogie down Bronx. Oh, you hanging out with Jenny from the block or what?
I can't hear you, Shawn.
I said, were you hanging out with Jenny from the block?
You.
Oh, okay. No, I'm
Joseph, try taking off your Wi-Fi. Maybe the Wi-Fi is lagging. You know what I mean? Maybe the Wi-Fi is slow. I don't know if you have a. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Me?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
Yeah, let's try logging off, Joseph, and logging back in. Maybe that'll redo it.
All right, let's take them off and then we'll finish up.
All right.
Cool. So we'll see if he can get back on.
Yeah, I think all he needs to do is reset it and then take his Wi-Fi off because he's probably in somewhere where the Wi-Fi is slow. But yeah, let's see.
Okay. I will see how we do. Well,
all right. He'll come back.
He'll come back. Well, the first top of the morning topic, and this is, man, where else do we start? Yesterday, the LA Dodgers, the Dodgers, the LA Homes, they beat the Tampa Bay Rays 4-2 to take a 3-2 lead in the series. And let me tell you this. The series this weekend was crazy. Crazy. The Dodgers were up 2 games to 1 going into Saturday, and they were up in the ninth. Are you there with us, Joseph?
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right. Cool.
So our first top of the morning topic is the LA Dodgers beat the Tampa Bay Rays 4-2 and move 1 win from capturing the World Series title. Clayton Kershaw, 5 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 2 walks, 6 punch-outs on 85 pitches. Now, he got taken out in the 6th, and I was a little confused. He threw 2 pitches in the 6th inning. He threw 2 pitches, got 2 outs in the 6th inning. And then Dave Roberts comes in and takes him out. And I don't know if it's for matchup purposes or what, but I'm like, wait a minute. This is Clayton Kershaw. He had one of the best innings to this day. 2 pitches, 2 outs, and you took him out. I was very confused with Dave Roberts' decision, but regardless, they came through 1-4-2 and are 1 win away from a World Series title.
Yes, that is correct, Shawn. And after coming off a disappointing loss on Saturday in the 8-7 comeback victory against the Rays, now the Dodgers are 1 win away from their 7th World Series title. And I think the clutch situation was when they were able to get the left fielder out. I think it's what's his last name? Carter, I think. They got him out at home plate. He was trying to steal home, and that kind of shut down the career. Yeah, right. They tried to steal home, and they shut down his opportunity. And I think that was the ball game right there.
You know what, Joe? I think you're right, but let me tell you something. I don't think he was out. And I couldn't get a clear view because his helmet popped off. But it looked like as he slid in, his left hand hit. He kind of rolled onto his left side, and as the catcher went to tag him, it looked like the catcher hit the helmet, which had popped off. I don't think he was out. And that was a huge call If that call stands, it's another ball game. It's a whole other ball game. And first of all, to have the cojones to steal home in the World Series is huge. And I'm telling you, I think he was safe. And I don't think there was enough evidence to overturn it, which is why it stood. But from my angle and just kind of piecing it together, it looked as if he was safe.
Wow. And that's the problem when you have a big market team playing against a small market team. Because when it comes to small market teams, nobody really knows you. So if it comes down to a bang call like that without inclusive evidence, most of the time they are in favor in big market teams. Like, I don't know if it was Muncie or not. They were throwing him out at second base. He tagged the guy, and I guess because it was inconclusive evidence, they ended up giving the call to the Dodgers. And the same thing happened on that home plate play. Like you said, you thought the guy was safe, but just because of inconclusive evidence, they end up being. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, you're just lagged.
Okay, cool.
You're lagged a little bit. You know what? It's
okay.
It's interesting to see, on your theory that it's big market, small market. I'll tell you what. I think the Dodgers did a good job. I think the Dodgers came out focused yesterday because they felt they should have won that game on Saturday. I'll tell you what. I have a lot of people out in LA. A couple of cousins out there, some really close family friends, some close friends of mine, and man, they were all on that timeline. They were so pissed. They wanted Dave Roberts fired that day. They wanted him fired immediately. I'm like, you do know you still
couldn't catch the ball. Like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't his. That relay was there. That relay was there. They should have been in the extra. The game should have kept going. But it's not his fault that he can't catch the ball for the catcher.
You know how fans are, dude. And they wanted his job. They're like, fire him now, get rid of him. He doesn't know how to use Kenley Jansen. I was sitting there and it was crazy. Dodgers fans, but you have to understand, the Dodgers have been there 3 out of the last 4 years. They haven't won it. Okay, so they're a little antsy. They're on the path to win it this year. They were highly favored to win it this year all season long. Once Mookie Betts came over, they were one of the favorites to win it. And
if I'm the Dodgers, you got to win now. Like game 6 is that's it. It has to be game over, game 6. Because if you extend it, and the Rays believe, the Rays already believe after that magical was it game 4? They already believe. So if you give them that extra game after pretty much battling, you battled back. And mentally you had to battle back because that was a heartbreaking loss. It
doesn't matter. It's game 7. If you go to game 7, anything can happen, and there could be a repeat of what could happen in game 4.
They got to end it at game 6 because if they extend it again and it's this back and forth seesaw. Who knows with that team and everything that they've been through, and all, like you said, they've been there how many times? Game 7, you know what I'm saying? Like they just haven't done it. If they lose, game 6, going to game 7, I don't know. I don't know if they could do it. I don't know if they could do it. I don't know if the Dodgers could do it in game 7. I know with the momentum right now, if they all focus and are all buying into this game, I think the Dodgers deserve to win the World Series. But if it gets extended, I don't know if the Rays. I don't know if they beat the Rays. I don't know if they beat the Rays in one more game.
So they play tomorrow, and then they would play on Wednesday if necessary. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I think doubt will creep in with this team if they lose game 6. I am positive doubt would creep in because now it's a game 7 and then you don't have the momentum going into game 7 because you would have lost game 6. Tampa Bay has all the momentum in the world. And then what would happen is all hands would be on deck for that game. And I'll tell you what, they would probably bring in Kershaw at some point, and I don't know if he will have recovered, because you work on 5 days, all right, 5 days rest or 4 days rest, okay, and you're working on 2 days rest. We've seen, we saw back in the Cubs series, what is it, 16? Where he came back on short days rest, and he was not as effective as he was, and that's going to. So the Dodgers they need to finish it off tomorrow. They need to. If they don't, I don't know. But then again, you could also say, Joseph, that if they don't, their resilience, they could say, hey, you know what, I'm not going to lose this game for the World Series a third time in 4 years. So I don't know. I'm interested to see how it plays out.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the pressure is on the Dodgers. Like you said, they've made it to the World Series the last 3 out of 4 years. They've overcome a cheating scandal with the Astros. And now here's their moment. They're playing against a small market team, David versus Goliath. Nobody's really cheering for the Goliath too much. I think the matchup is in Tampa Bay favor when it comes to the next 2 games, because like you said, Kershaw, if they're trying to put him in on the back-to-back, they going all in. They going all in, just like the Cubs had to do in Game 7. They went all in. Now this is a Game 6, and they're going to try to go all in with the mindset that we won game, nothing like that. Performance, and they have to bring out all their big money sluggers to put this team away. And if they don't, if it goes Game 7, it's a possibility Tampa Bay might pull it off, and this might be one of the biggest upsets in World Series history.
If the Tampa Bay Rays end up winning this thing, I don't know if it would be the biggest upset, just because they would have gone Game 7. It's not like when you guys came back 3-1. If they were down 3-1 and Tampa Bay came back to win this, then I think it would be in a conversation. But since it was 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2. If they win tomorrow, 3-3, and then Game 7, it's the momentum would be with Tampa Bay a little bit, but it wouldn't be as much momentum as if they were down from 3-1. So I don't know if I agree with you. It would be the greatest comeback, but it'll be a great it'll be one of the best upsets. It'll be one of the best upsets. And I think if the Dodgers lose,
yeah.
Or did you say upset?
Yeah, I said upsets. Biggest upsets. Yeah, in World Series history. The reason why I said that is because nobody really knows who the Tampa Bay Rays are.
No.
It's kind of like, who are you guys? Who invited you to the party? Who told you to wear that? How did you get in? How did you get into the party with gym shoes on? You see what I mean? This is just a different level of baseball. And, just imagine they played at Tropicana Field all last year. Nobody actually goes to the games. You see what I mean? So now they got a chance to make history. This will be their first ever World Series in their franchise history if they beat the Dodgers this week.
It's going to be interesting because, truth be told, I had no idea who it was. Going into the, I had no idea who their manager was. I had no idea who their stars were. I mean, and then again, I don't follow baseball as closely outside of my White Sox, and I got to keep tabs on your people because I report on them. But I had no idea who their manager was, and their pitchers were. I had no idea, and we know that just from different players, because throughout the season, throughout the years, I go, this guy, he's still there, he's there, or he switched teams this year, and dude, Joseph, I had no idea who anyone on this team was, literally, and that's a testament to to them playing together as a team, to them believing in themselves, and to them to not feel the pressure and come
Can't
through.
Hear you, Shawn.
Okay, and come through. That's on your end, and it's the pressure. It's a testament to them to be able to deal with the pressure and realize you're going up against, one of the highest payrolls in the Major League Baseball. You're going up against former MVP Mookie Betts. You're going up against first ballot Hall of Famer Clayton Kershaw. You're going up against quite a few studs. Corey Seager, Max Muncy. Okay, and for you guys to be able to do that and win, if they can pull off Game 6 and then pull off a Game 7, wow, that'd be something that's going to be just incredible.
Talked about because the Dodgers are the Dodgers. They're the juggernauts. You know what I'm saying? And the Rays are just scrapped together, and I think it's a beautiful thing because it shows how small like the separation is between teams. How there's parity within the league. That one team who pretty much shouldn't be there. I mean, they're a good team. They've been a good team for a few years, but looking at it like Dodgers versus the Dodgers, who the Dodgers are versus who the Rays are, this should be a walk in the park. But I mean, we all know the Dodgers' struggles. They're storied, even though they did lose to a Nationals team that cheated, but they also lost plenty of times before. You know what I'm saying? So we know their MO. It's just are they going to be able to get over the hump this time? I hope for them and for LA to keep that team together. They would, because if they don't win this year, where do you go? Where do you go? You have probably one of the best team in the league, top to bottom, and you still can't get over the hump. You know what I mean? Like, you have to think about going in another direction, I would think.
Right.
Joseph.
Yeah, this is the Andrew Friedman World Series. He built a small market team in Tampa Bay, then he went over to LA and built a big market team, and now they face it off against each other. So it's kind of like, it's crazy right here. This is some Theo Epstein type of stuff. You created two monsters, now they going. Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's like saying the Red Sox and the Cubs in the World Series.
Yes, that's true. Two different philosophies on how to build a team, but they both work, and they're both there competing. And one is doing money ball, the other big spenders. So I love to see the contrast. I like to see the Park Avenue versus Skid Row. I love to see this whole, David versus Goliath story here. And hopefully, give the fans what they want. Game 7.
And listen, I'm going to ask you one question, but I'm going to do that on the other side of the break. So don't go anywhere, folks. More top of the box right here. Don't go anywhere. Keep it locked. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone. NFL tonight, Chicago on the road visiting the Rams. The Bears are the leader atop the NFC North. They've got some company with Green Bay. This after the 5-1 Packers beat the Texans 35-20 on Sunday. The Packers' Devontae Adams returned to the lineup in a big way. 13 receptions, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns. As for the Bears, they're 5-1 overall, 3-0 away from home. The Rams 2-0 at home this season, 4-2 overall. Baseball, the Dodgers are a win away from capturing the World Series. 4-2 the final over Tampa on Sunday. They've got a 3-2 lead in the best of 7. Game 6 is Tuesday night. As the Blackhawks continue to rebuild, head coach Jeremy Colleton called on Jonathan Toews, Patrick Kane, and other veterans to help set the tone. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 5560 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 5560. Enjoy.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. So, Joseph, I got to ask you this one question. Then we got some breaking news. So, if the Dodgers lose, I guess it's a two-part question. If the Dodgers lose, do they fire Dave Roberts? If they fire Dave Roberts, do the White Sox go after him?
That's a good one right there. Like I said, when Dave Roberts came out and said, "This is our year, this is his last year," that's what he really meant to say. If they lose, yeah, Roberts, and if they do, yeah, the White Sox should go after him. He seems like a man of integrity. He's a hero in Boston. And which is where Dave Roberts thrives as a base stealer. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. All right, but here's the. I'm wondering if Sox fans would be apprehensive to bring him on, because he seems, if they don't win, he means he would have been there 3 times in 4 years and he couldn't win the big one. Do White Sox fans want that type of manager leading them? A guy who hasn't won a World Series, a guy who hasn't been able, who's been there 3 times in the last 4 years and not being able to manage and get your team over the hump. So I don't know. I don't know how White Sox fans are going to react to this. I personally wouldn't want him. Give me someone with credentials. Give me somebody who's won it. Give me someone who's taken a team to the mountaintop. And I know in 2003, Ozzie hadn't taken or 2005, I should say, Ozzie hadn't taken those guys there, but you felt it. You knew that this guy, that he could. But I don't know if I'd want Dave Roberts just because his inability to close the deal. I don't know. So.
Can I say one thing about that real quick? So my thing is, it's not Dave Roberts' fault that Clayton Kershaw can't close games out. He had so many opportunities where he trusted his best players, and his best players didn't come through. You know what I'm saying? Aside from the Astros series, how many times have we seen the Dodgers go out and maybe it could be some of Dave Roberts' pitching decisions, but other than that, the players got to play. Other than that, you have to get the pitching. Other than that, you have to get the timely hitting. So, yeah, you could blame them for a lot, but also you have to look at the players that you put out there. As good as they are, they're a regular season juggernaut. Am I right? They win regular season championships.
Well, no, they could be a playoff juggernaut because they.
Can y'all hear me?
They've been
they just never win.
Well, they never win the World Series, but they've gotten to the World Series 3 out of the last 4 years. Oh, so the question is, would you want to be that franchise? See, it's a different thing when you're dealing with certain franchises, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers. Now, you're not expected just to get there. You're expected to contend every year, but when you get there, they're expecting you to win, especially the fact that you've been there 3 times. This is your 3rd time in 4 years. The Dodgers fans are expecting you should have had 1, maybe 2. So I agree with you. The fact that he's not pitching, he's not fielding, he's not, shifting, he's not doing anything. He's actually not playing. But there is this a guy who can only take them to a certain level? And it seems like, do you want to be Marv Levy? You go to the Super Bowl 4 straight years.
Bobby Cox for a while, for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to win. I want to win. I don't want to be that guy that's, oh yeah, you always get you're always hanging out with the greats, but you're never really great yourself. You know what I'm saying? I understand that, like that. I understand that point, but for me, it's like you got to win. Period. And you're right. Dave Roberts just hasn't won. He just hasn't won. You got to win. There's no pat on the back for me for, oh yeah, we got to the dance and we just didn't get there. There's no the playoff being a playoff juggernaut means you win at the end. Like that to me, the Patriots are a playoff juggernaut because they've been there, but look how many titles they've won. The Dodgers haven't even won one. You know what I'm saying? So being a playoff juggernaut, I think you're just, to me right now, the Dodgers are just, there. Like, yeah, they're a staple, but they just never do anything. They never get over the hump. They just can't.
Well, you can't say they didn't do anything because they keep getting to the World Series. It's not like they're facing the same team every year. They're beating every team in the National League. Like every year they've gotten through different people to get to the World Series. So they're a juggernaut. Yes, yeah, exactly. Well, that was it. They got through them. So they are a juggernaut. They just haven't been able to win the big one because look at your organization. How would you feel?
Hey guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But what perfect team that you can lose to than the Tampa Bay Rays? What I'm saying, then guys are still personnel guys, and they pretty much got the scouting reports, on everybody from top to bottom, including Mookie Betts. You see what I mean? So if the Dodgers lose, yeah,
we'll try to get him back.
Rough. I'm sorry, Joseph. That's rough. Like I couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, we couldn't.
Yeah. Yeah, we got nothing, Joseph. Sorry. Hold on, let's try again.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Now we can.
Okay. Hey. All right.
All right. Yeah. That one's rough. Like that's rough. But you're right. You're right. Like I like a guy to consistently get there. It's just eventually you need a win. Eventually you need a win. And what if they move on from Dave Roberts and they still don't find a guy? Like who do you need to manage that team? That team has every piece that you'd want it. At least as a manager, every piece that you want on that team is there. I just don't understand why they can't. Hopefully they do. Like good for them after that Astros series. To be honest with you, I wouldn't have a problem. This is the World Series where I have no problem with either team winning. The Dodgers won because they lost to the Astros. They got screwed out of a World Series because of the Astros. And two, it'd be nice to see the Rays win their first title with a scrappy no-name team. These are two great stories. You know what I'm saying? It's just if they don't win with Dave, and he's been doing amazing things with this team, they're going to go somebody else. And what if it's the same thing? What then?
First of all, you got to get there. Secondly, what moves he's making, and as to why they're not winning, is it because of the moves he's making? All right, there's still a huge contingent of Cub fans who still, even though he's long gone, Anaheim, they still to this day will claim that Joe Madden almost lost them the World Series with the use of Aroldis Chapman. Okay,
well, yeah. We won. I'm fine with it. But the story is that look what happened, Shawn. It took a miracle for the Cubs to come back. Even You know what I'm saying? Who knew that this guy, oh my God, Almora was going to tag up at first? You know what I'm saying? Like the way the Cubs worked that last part of that game after Rajai Davis hit that home run was nothing short of a miracle. A rain delay, a speech by Jason, like that's a movie type shit. Like that's a once in a lifetime type of moment that happened, right? So for me, it's like, yeah, Joe almost blew it, but it took a miracle to overcome that. Like that's like it is what it is. I'm happy with the title, but the story is exactly that. Joe did almost blow it because he was just maverick about how he was using his starting or his relief pitching.
Okay, and I don't like to deal in hypotheticals often, so unfortunately, I'm going to do it this time. If Aroldis Chapman had struck out Rajai Davis, how does the narrative change?
It changes because it changes. It just lessens a little bit because they're still going to talk about how he was using him throughout. You know what I mean? And Chapman ran into some trouble in every series that he was in that season. He ran into trouble consistently. And then towards the end of the season, how he was using them, it was just like you got this flamethrower. But we know once you get him into an extended part, like if you get him into another inning, inning number 2, I'm worried about Aroldis. And Aroldis pitching 2 innings, I'm worried about him because he's throwing BBs, but he starts losing control. He starts not hitting his spots with that fastball. Yeah, it's going 100, but it might go on 100 in the perfect spot, and that's what it did with Rajai Davis.
Well, let's not. Last thing before we move on, let's not forget they're professionals on that side too. So it's not just because of you have a certain fireballer, you have a certain pitcher. They're professionals on the other side too, and they have their day. They're talented as well, and it's. I can see your point as Cub fans. Okay, he used him too much, but if he struck out Rajai Davis, then Joe made a great move by Joe Madden to bring Aroldis Chapman on 2 days rest or back-to-back nights or whatever it was. It was back-to-back nights, and he got the job done. He powered through it. He did this. He did that. Then the narrative completely changes. So So I take this. I go back. I retrace back to the topic on that when that was with Dave Roberts, and would you rather be a team like the Dodgers who gets there and may or may not or hasn't won it, or would you rather be a team that doesn't get there at all? I don't know, but we'll see. And they got one more game. The Dodgers have one more game to really have some confidence because if they go to a Game 7, there's not going to be a lot of confidence for the Dodgers. And we're going to talk to Bob Nightingale at the top of the hour about that, about Game 6. How dire is it for the LA Dodgers? How dire is it? Do they want to put their hand? Do they want to test fate? So we're going to talk to Bob at 10 o'clock. Well, let's move on. The next top of the morning topic today. Yes, you could cue it up. I have a next top of the morning topic today. 15 years ago today, the White Sox won their first World Series in over 80 years. You got me, Ivan?
I can remember it like yesterday, hanging out on that South Street, watching your ticker day parade take place. As us Cubs fans was envying you guys a little bit because you was the first ones to break your curse. Before we did. So we were a little salty and see one again.
Tying run at second, 2 out. Palmeiro over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series. Juan Uribe with a play, charging it, throwing it, and the White Sox celebrate their first title in 88 years.
First title in 88 years. Let me tell you, I was Wow. What a jag bag. What a jag bag. All right. Don't be salty because you had to wait 11 more years to finally win your fantasy. That's all it was.
Those 11 years felt like 37. All right. Those 11 years were like hell, knowing that you had one.
That was the biggest party ever.
Why did it feel so bad, Ivan and Joseph? Because we were talking shit the whole time, all 11 years.
The whole time, everything was 05. I'm like, man, I hate that year. Anybody talking about 05, I see black and white, and I get all nervous.
Yes, you guys are talking like we felt like y'all actually didn't win anything. The way they were talking trash to me. And then everybody was no call, no show, you know. So I couldn't find any of my White Sox buddies because they sworn that we were the most cursed organization in the history of any sports. They said we will never win a World Series. All the doubters to bed.
Well, you were the biggest cursed team in all of professional sports. It was 108 years, and no team had ever gone and dropped that long between titles, unless you're like the Detroit Lions, who just never won anything. Period. But here it was 108 years, and so yeah, that was a big deal, man. That was a huge deal, and we didn't want to hear it from you guys. I was like, oh man, because you guys would tease us about various things. Nobody shows up to your games, and you're bringing in all these old veterans, Manny Ramirez, Ken Griffey Jr. when they're like 39 years old. Like you're bringing all these old guys in. Remember the Kenny Williams way, and the fact is you bring these guys in, and then you're like, and all we could say is, well, we won one. We won in 05. We won in 05, and we talk about your frat brother or your frat boy fan base, but then everything was like, oh, there's nobody watches you, nobody goes to the games. They're like, yeah, well, it doesn't matter, we still won one. And when you guys finally got that one, and I've said this before, and I have no problem saying I was really rooting for the Cleveland Indians. I was really I really was.
Thank God you guys didn't win at home. Thank God you guys didn't win at home, because it would have been a small celebration.
Oh,
dude, there were a couple million people on the route. It had been 88 years for us. Okay, it had been 88 years. There were people, dude. They had lined up all through. They talked about the rally.
They had to find a bunch of Sox fans that come to this rally.
Dude, the whole route.
Was Sacco there? What's your mascot name? Sacco? Or is that the guy from the WWE? Oh no, softball. What's
yeah. See, now Joe's acting a fool now. Sacco. Get your wrestling ass out of here. Mankind, Mick Foley. Get out of here.
Do love.
Anyway. Put it this way. And after you guys celebrated and you guys started talking your stuff, we're like, wait a minute. You're the last. And this is what I told Cuff. Shut him up. I'm like, you guys are you guys are exactly like the last guy in the group to turn 21. So you're like December 15th is your birthday. All right, our birthday is in January, March, June, August, July, August. So we're going to clubs already. All right, we're going to clubs already. We're buying, we go buy alcohol already. All right, and then all of a sudden you turn 21, you go in the club for the first time with your ID, like, hey, hey, look at my ID, and we're like, dude, we've been doing this already. This has been done. You're just the last ones at the party. That's all. That's all it was. You're the last ones at the party.
We're the guys who stay. No, we're the guys who stay at home and do our homework It may take us a little slower to get it done. Y'all finish your homework first. You get to go outside and play. You like that one sibling. We like that one sibling that got to take their time to do their homework.
That's funny. So you're on a small bus.
You finish.
You're on the short bus. Is that what you're saying?
And plus, the short yellow school bus. But here's the deal. The difference between us and you guys, we won our World Series in November, and you guys won in October. Bang. Just like that. We're November champions. Something that has never been done in Chicago history.
You can have that. That's what you want to go with. Okay. Oh, you got us on that one. So since you burned us with that one, we'll end on that note on that topic. You scarred me. I don't even know if I could do the rest of the show because of that one.
I was waiting for the.
No, it's like a bad karate movie. Like, nope. Take it.
On that note, we're going to move on. This just in breaking news, or tearing news, pun intended. Odell Beckham Jr. is out for the season as he has torn his ACL yesterday in a game against the Cincinnati Bengals that the Browns won. Odell Beckham Jr. out for the remainder of the season. So I assume and I anticipate, and we'll find out his timetable for return, but he should be ready for the season next year. If you due to the technology and advancements of science, you see what has happened to various people who've had it. Adrian Peterson being the most extreme, missing, tearing his ACL, missing the remainder of the year, coming back the next year, rushing for 2,000 yards, being a freaking monster. So it's not definitely not a death sentence by any stretch. But Odell Beckham Jr. now, I'm sure he's having surgery today or tomorrow. And then the long process for recovery and the rehab starts, the moment after surgery happens. It sucks for him. It really does. But unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast, and the Browns just got to move on without him.
Mm-hmm. Did you lose Joseph?
Oh, poor Browns. They're in another situation where they're losing one of their top. It's like the McDonald's drive-through right now. So sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
No, you're a little lag, but it sounds like you're just loaded with sarcasm in that comment. I don't know.
I can't hear myself. I'm just like, is it okay now?
Yeah, it's okay now.
Fine, Joseph.
Okay, cool. Okay. So here's the deal with OBJ. It's been a bad week for him overall. First, he got banned from the LSU locker room, and then the following week, he blows out his ACL. That's unfortunate, So I hope he recovers well. And I'm still lagging.
You are. Listen, we're just gonna let him go because it's.
Yeah, that sounds. Hey, but Armando Lara Jr. says Aaron Rodgers is a White Sox fan. See what? Now it's a conflict of interest, Shawn. You got to make a decision now.
For what?
You got to either choose the White Sox or the Bears. Nobody else. You got to lose your baseball team because of Aaron Rodgers.
No, what Aaron Rodgers does has no bearing on who my allegiance is toward. All I know is that he's obviously a very smart individual. Being a fan of, there you nonsense. There you go with that nonsense.
We're on an even playing field now. Not one of I was nervous at first because I was like, man, the Sox look really good, and we look really shitty. And then I was like, oh, look at the Cubs look really good. And then they, pulled the mask off, and we're like, surprise, we're the same Cubs. But yeah, I'm feeling good about both teams. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just being a little cheeky.
So next top of the morning topic, and this one we're going to talk a little later in the show when we talk a little Big Ten football at 11:30. University of Illinois, they fall. They got their asses handed to them in a blowout loss to the Wisconsin Badgers Friday, 45-7. Their Wisconsin quarterback, redshirt freshman quarterback, Mertz, he goes 20 for 21, 248 yards, and 5 touchdown passes. Graham Mertz throws 5 touchdown passes for the University of Wisconsin, and then test positive for coronavirus.
Yeah, so he went out and partied. He partied his ass off. He went out and partied his ass off.
I think he did. Here's the thing. It says, according to Big Ten protocols, and this is according to the Sun-Times-Wire. According to Big Ten protocol, athletes who test positive through the point of contact, that's the daily testing, will require a polymerase chain reaction PCR test to confirm the first result. If the second test confirms that Mertz has the virus, he will have to sit out 21 days. 3 weeks.
That's not good.
3 weeks.
That's not good.
After the great performance that this guy had against Illinois and the confidence that he had, for him to sit out 3 weeks, that would be a huge, huge blow. Huge blow to Wisconsin.
I watched the game. Well, I watched 4 of his touchdowns. 4 of his touchdowns, and then I kind of was like, you know what? Well, maybe it was 3. I think it was 21-7 when I stopped watching, because you felt the vibe of the game. It was like, this is out of hand already in the second quarter, and Lovey, I don't think Lovey knows how to stop it, and he didn't. They kept he was amazing. He was amazing. He looked really good. He could run. He could throw. He's a big guy. He's athletic. He looked like a better Mitch Trubisky out there. But I mean, we wouldn't know that because we barely saw Mitch in college. But I would say that I would go out on a limb and say he looked like what we wanted Mitch to look like. I'll say that. And he's a college quarterback.
He was very comfortable in the pocket. He was very very poised, and a lot of his throws were on point. I mean, you talk about laying it in. Like some of his throws, you couldn't have placed it any better. The location was unbelievable. So this kid looks like he's ready to break out for stardom. And we hope he's not sidetracked by this coronavirus, because that would suck for him, and that would suck for the University of Wisconsin, because this kid is just he's a monster, and he's a redshirt freshman, which means he's got a minimum of 1 more year left at Wisconsin. So hopefully for them, he stays as long as possible. But if he continues to play like he did against Illinois, that will be his last year. Because if he's a redshirt freshman, you got to be out of high school 3 years. So after your redshirt sophomore year, he could jump to the league. And if he gets some good traction, he gets some good reviews, some good scouting reviews, he'll probably. I don't blame him. So
no.
Well, listen, we got to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we're going to switch gears. We're going to go back to talking about Major League Baseball and the World Series. We're going to talk about the weekend with our guy Bob Nightingale. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone. NFL tonight, Chicago on the road visiting the Rams. The Bears are the leader atop the NFC North. They've got some company with Green Bay. This after the 5-1 Packers beat the Texans 35-20 on Sunday. The Packers' Davante Adams returned to the lineup in a big way. 13 receptions, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns. As for the Bears, they're 5-1 overall, 3-0 away from home. The Rams 2-0 at home this season, 4-2 overall. Baseball, the Dodgers are a win away from capturing the World Series. 4-2 the final over Tampa on Sunday. They've got a 3-2 lead in the best of 7. Game 6 is Tuesday night. As the Blackhawks continue to rebuild, head coach Jeremy Colleton called on Jonathan Toews, Patrick Kane, and other veterans to help set the tone. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at boomernaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330-95.9 The Zone.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 5560 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 5560. Enjoy.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago on this House Music Monday edition. It is game day, baby, and you see I'm decked out in my my Chicago Bears attire. Remember, this shirt is 5-1 for the season, so every game, and it's washed. For those crazy people who think I didn't watch, it's washed. It's not like one of my old buddies who, when I was in the Thunder, one of my buddies didn't wash his uniform, didn't wash his jersey. He just left it on shoulder pads. Didn't wash it the whole season. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I've been there. I know somebody who left it out maybe a week. The stench is unbearable. So I can imagine a year.
The whole season.
Why would you want to go around and why would you want to try to block or tackle that?
That's the whole purpose. That's the whole purpose. Yeah. So he was a D lineman, and yeah, offensive lineman really had an issue, and then when he tackled you, it didn't smell good. So just so you know, I wash this every week, but this is my lucky shirt. 5-1 for my Bears this weekend. But we're going to switch to talk a little. You want to talk about exciting this week? Amazing for the World Series. So we're going to bring in our guy. He's out. He's one of the top guys. When you want to find out any information on baseball, you better look at him. Follow him on Twitter. Follow him on Twitter at B Nightingale. He gives you the 411, and he's in the know, baby. Guys, just welcome back to Shawn and Mom Nightingale. Bye. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Yeah, doing well. Thanks, Shawn.
Was that some freaking amazing baseball this weekend, or what? That Saturday game was out of control.
Yeah, Game 4 was there's a lot of great games. That was right up there. This is the finish. In fact, that team scored 8 consecutive half innings. First time ever. Just the wild last play with the 2 errors in the last play. So yeah, that was cool. This place. It's too bad it wasn't in Tampa. This place was going wild. There's a lot of Dodger fans here, so Dodger fans are just kind of cursing and yelling, and screaming. They could be what just happened.
I have a lot of people out in California who are Dodgers fans. My cousins, close family friends, and man, the everything on Twitter, on Facebook, they wanted Dave Roberts fired then. He didn't make the 2 errors on the last play. It was so crazy. And who is this guy, and where the hell did this guy come from? Randy Arozarena. This guy has just stepped on the big stage and taken it and made it his own.
Yeah, he came from Cuba and through Mexico. He was a Cardinal prospect, and the Cardinals traded him away a year ago. Remember, he was the guy who filmed the manager, Mike Schilt, with a kind of profane-laden speech at the end. I'm not sure if he knew what he was in filming, but he was filming, went on a live stream, very embarrassing. He had to take it down and apologize. Traded a couple months later. I don't know if that had any factor in him being traded, but they did get one of their top pitching prospects. The Cardinals knew this guy was a good hitter, but they didn't know he was going to do this. Nobody knew he was going to do this. And he's been on fire.
Yeah, he's really made a name for himself, and you know what? This is the way to make. This is where legends are made. Not saying he's going to go down in history, but he can, depending on what happens the next game and how he performs. I mean, he's batting 7-18 in the series. He's batting 389 for the world. Not a shabby average in your first go around as a rookie on baseball's biggest stage.
No, and I thought the Dodgers were quiet to him during the postseason here. I mean, during the World Series, and they did at the beginning. But now he's on fire again. He had a chance to break that game open last night.
He did.
Didn't do it. So, but yeah, exciting player, and be fun to see what he can do during a regular Hershey 2-game season.
Talk to me about Clayton. Clayton has had 2 decent performances in this World Series, and he was snake bitten. One you kind of got to throw out the window thanks to the Astros series. So you just kind of put that aside. But up until then, he just hadn't really been a big time player in the postseason, whether it was against the Cubs, was in the first World Series that he was in. How much of a redemption moment was it for him yesterday, going 5 2/3, which I thought after he only threw 2 pitches in that 6th inning that he got taken out, I thought it was taken out way too soon. But how much of a redemption was it for him, and how's that going to affect his legacy going forward?
Yeah, big time. Kind of changes the whole narrative that he can't pitch in the postseason. He was 12-12 in the postseason going into this, so not like he was awful. He was just mediocre. I can look back. Some of these finesse pitchers have had trouble in the postseason. You go back to Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine. It's the hard throwers that pretty much do well. So, but yeah, he stepped up and 4-1 with like a 2.89 ERA this postseason. So yeah, changed the narrative completely. Yeah, cool for him. I mean, he's from here. He grew up in Highland Park, just down the road, friends and family. So if you can't win a World Series at Dodger Stadium, this is the next best thing for him, winning in his hometown. Yeah,
it would be. Guys, we're joined by Bob Nightingale from USA Today, talking a little World Series right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. So 3-2 lead for the Dodgers. Okay, they came out. They looked look in their eye yesterday that I hadn't seen all series. They were. I think they were embarrassed. I think they were super focused because of the way that they lost on Saturday. So now lead. How dire is it that they win tomorrow night? Because we saw what Tampa Bay can do coming back. They're not afraid or unfamiliar with miracles. How dire is it that the Dodgers win tomorrow?
Well, really not dire at all, Shawn. I mean, they got Walker Buehler in Game 7. I mean, Walker Buehler has been, like Bob Gibson this postseason. He's on fire. He's their ace. So they're going with the bullpen game. They're going with Tony Gonsolin in Game 6 against Blake Snell, who really hasn't had a good postseason at all. He still hasn't even pitched past 6 innings all season. So they can lose Game 6 and no big deal because they have Buehler in Game 7. So the fact they won on Game 5, they're all set. They don't think that Buehler can be beat. I don't either.
Yeah, but that's putting everything on one game, and Buehler wasn't undefeated during the regular. It only takes one, and that's for me. I think it's dire that they do this in Game 6 just because of the momentum that Tampa Bay may have. And they're not unfamiliar to miracles. Somebody forgot to tell them that they should be nervous because this is, they haven't been here in a long time, and because they just don't look nervous. They don't seem shook by the emotion. They don't seem, this stage is not too big for them. And truth be told, Bob, I had no idea who the hell the manager was going into the series.
Yeah, he's a Terry Francona protege. He played for Terry Francona, was on Terry Francona's coaching staff. Did a good job. I mean, everything's kind of by the textbook as well. A very analytic team, just like the Dodgers are. People yell at Dave Roberts. Don't yell at Dave Roberts. Yell at the front office because these things are orchestrated ahead of time. So, yeah, good manager, very good team. Remember now, in this World Series, nobody's won 2 consecutive games. So everybody's just kind of holding serve.
Right.
So if he keeps going like this, Rays win Game 6, Dodgers win Game 7.
Yeah, it is. Something tells me I'm leery. Something tells me that these Rays can do it if they win Game 6, and it'd be a perfect setup. You have Walker Buehler, who's just basically Bob Gibson, as you said, and untouchable. For them to touch him up in a Game 7 when you think you have it, it would remind me. It'd be very similar to the Cubs back in 03 when they had Pryor and Mark Pryor and Kerry Wood. And I like to remind my Cub fan friends of that often. But here's
if you remember that series, Jack McKeon with the Marlins, he went with his stud on short rest in Game 6, Josh Beckett. So we have Dave Roberts. You considering going Walker Buehler in short rest in Game 6, trying to win it right away. He said no. McKeon went for it all 3, like you mentioned, Shawn, and was successful without waiting. And so at this point, Dave Roberts said no, we're going to hold off and just have Buehler go in regular rest Game 7.
I see, and that makes complete sense. You want him at full strength because we've seen it oftentimes in playoffs when pitchers are weird. They're like kickers. When you throw them off a day long, a day short, they're not exactly who they are because they're such creatures of habit, and they're so used to the routine. An extra day of rest or a day short of their normal rest can really affect them psychologically. And so for Dave Roberts, that's cool. But since you mentioned Dave Roberts, let me ask you this question then. If it plays out where the Tampa Bay Rays win.
Hey, Bob, it's Jason.
Good. Yeah, Shawn just froze up on me. All right.
Yeah, it looks like Shawn just froze up, so I'll just jump in here right here with a question. I don't know what he was going to ask, so I'll just ask my own stuff.
Right.
So down there, this new stadium down there that they built in Texas, what is it like? Obviously, this was big for them getting the World Series, seeing they just had a brand new stadium, and then it was going to be no season.
Yeah, it's big. Not as big as the Jury's place and next door at the AT&T Stadium where the Cowboys play. But big place. Looks beautiful. I have not actually walked around and looked at things. Nothing jumps out like something cool about it. But it's a retractable roof. It gets hot here in the summertime, so that's where they wanted it. It looks like big, spacious suites. But yeah, everything in Texas is big. I've been next door where the Cowboys play. That thing is spectacular. That's the biggest, most spectacular place I've ever seen. It's just massive. So it kind of reminds you of that baseball style.
And the thing I thought, I thought it was weird when they said they were going to build a new stadium. I'm like, man, the other one wasn't that old. And the thing I liked about the other one was the uniqueness of the dimensions. I think that's what makes baseball so great. And while there is a home field advantage, all the unique crevices and things like that. Anything stand out in this new ballpark in terms of the uniqueness of the field itself?
No, not really about the field. What they're trying to do with these new ballparks now is pretty much make it like a party atmosphere. They want people just, to be seen. I mean, people come in, drink and party. They have a thing called Texas Live, just like St. Louis has the ballpark village. In Atlanta's got the Battery. So they're doing the same thing here, hoping just people party, go into the ballpark, have fun, and then leave. So that's the big thing now, is just to make it more of a party type atmosphere.
Right. And I know Shawn is back with us. But I know also they have fans in here. They've got 10,000 fans that they're allowing in the stadium for these games?
Yeah, 11,500 approximately. So including the suites. So yeah, it's Tell you what, 11,500 fans here, about 11,400 are fans of the Dodgers. Big Dodger contingent here. Yeah, I'm exaggerating, but it's probably it's about 9,000 Dodger fans.
Wow.
It's a lot of Dodger fans that have taken this place over. And hey, they flew in from LA, just wanted to see this drought end after since 1988. But yeah, they get loud. It's fun. It's actually fun to see games with fans back here.
Yeah, glad. Well, I'm glad. Speaking of being back, I'm glad to be back. Thank you, technology. It is cool to see fans back and hear them cheering, hear them booing, like that whole energy that we miss, that the players miss, but as fans we miss because they're there and we ebb and flow with them as well. Well, the question I was asking you beforehand was, if the Dodgers end up losing this, what are the chances that the Dodgers may part ways with their manager? It'll be 3 times in 4 years that they got to the big dance and haven't been able to seal the deal. Would they look to go in another direction and get rid of Dave Roberts?
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance. Remember now, all these moves are scripted by the front office. That's the way the baseball world is now. I think that's why the White Sox were. They fired Ricky Renteria. He went against the script, like, hey, you're not supposed to do this stuff. We had warned you. So Dave's going with what that they told him ahead of time. Clayton Kershaw, 21. You're going to face 21 batters. He faced 21 last night. Even though he just faced one pitch for the last 2 guys, you're out. But no, still a very popular guy with the front office, fans. Great guy off the field. I think there's 0 chance of him getting fired. I know people think he could be, but he won't.
Yeah, the reason I ask is because the White Sox obviously have a position open, and there's they allegedly interviewed Tony La Russa, which I think is awesome and hilarious. But then they can't mention AJ Hinch or Cora's name, and I was thinking if some people, and me one of them, were thinking that if Roberts gets fired, that he could be heading over to the White Sox. Although I don't know if I'd want him, but give me an AJ Hinch or a Cora, because if you're not cheating, you're not trying. I'm just kidding, but give me a manager with World Series experience to bring these young kids along and get them to that point, and that'd be my personal opinion, as opposed to bringing a guy in who's gotten there but hasn't been able to seal the deal.
Well, let's put it this way, Shawn, Jason. It's not allegedly. Tony La Russa has interviewed for the job. It's his job if he wants it.
Stop it.
Tony La Russa will be the next manager of the White Sox unless he turns it down. And
Stop it.
If he turns it down, then they'll probably look at either AJ Hinch. Don't rule out Bruce Bochy now. Bruce Bochy's had a year off.
I'd like that too.
He's at the Hall of Fame. I think Rick Hahn. Rick Hahn he's a GM. He was an agent at the time for AJ Hinch. The trouble with AJ Hinch is, hey, he was a mastermind of the cheating scandal. Remember now, Dusty Baker managed the Houston Astros. People hated on the Astros all year long. And Dusty Baker said, hey, I wasn't even here in 2017. Why is everybody hating on me? Now, if AJ Hinch becomes the manager of the White Sox, people are going to be booing the White Sox wherever they go. Said, guys like Jose Abreu, Tim Anderson said, I had nothing to that cheating scandal. No, but your manager did. That's going to be a cloud. That'd be a cloud. Whoever hires an AJ Hinch, there's going to be a cloud over that organization.
That's a good point, Bob. And I want to follow up earlier on what you said about moves being scripted. I mean, as an insider, and a person who covers this sport on a regular basis, you have more insight than the average fan does. But talk a little bit about, the script the managers follow. How much pressure do they get to manage the team the way the general manager wants them to? And how did Ricky come off script?
Well, yeah, I mean, nowadays, a lot of times the lineup's on the manager's desk before he even shows up at work. Some of these best, I don't know a single manager now, now that Bruce Bochy, retired or, left a year ago, does his own thing. Everything's through the front office. Yeah, you can go off script a little bit, which is what Rick Renteria did, and do your thing by gut instincts and stuff like that. But everything's kind of laid out. I mean, you look at, Walker Buehler, Clayton Kershaw's last 2 starts, Every single guy faced 21 batters only. It's like a computer sheet. So that's the way it's come. I think Joe Madden got upset with the Cubs front office because of that. And you see, Madden lost his job over that. So that's the way of the world now. They have analyzed everything, analytics and stuff like that is dictating, all these moves. So when people yell at Dave Roberts over the years for taking out Rich Hill and doing things the postseason, don't yell at Dave Roberts, yell at the front office.
So is this a combination of the analytics people along with the general manager? I mean, who's the person behind the curtain who's playing the Wizard of Oz, Bob?
Yeah, I mean, every team got a big analytics department. Obviously, the GM is the point man, so it comes to the GM and the getting all the information from the analytic people. I remember a couple of years ago, Bruce Bochy says he's got all these crazy ideas from the analytics department. He says, you know what? Next game, let's have your face on the scoreboard. Then after the game, when the press is asking me questions, you guys answer the questions, and I'll sit aside.
So Bob, that's awesome, and that's a tidbit that many people don't know or understand. Mm-hmm. So let's rewind then, or a week or two. Is it possible that that's one of the reasons is Ozzie Guillen wasn't considered for this job? Because knowing Ozzie does it his way. Ozzie, although Ozzie does, and I've talked with Junior a lot. He's on the show often, and he's saying, Ozzie loves analytics. He was in it way in the beginning, but Ozzie manages from his heart. He manages from his gut. He manages from his feel, and Ozzie has no problem doing it his way because he realizes he's going to get fired or when he's going to win or lose his way. Is that or you think that's a good reason why that they didn't want him as a candidate because of he wouldn't stay on script if he didn't feel it in that particular game?
Well, I think owners and GMs are afraid of Ozzie because he's outspoken. I think that's the simple thing. Ozzie's his own man. He can say anything at any time, anywhere. And people don't want that now. Everybody wants to be the corporate speak and everything else, be politically correct, say the right things. Ozzie's not that guy. Ozzie scares people. That's why Ozzie has not returned as a manager's seat, because you can't control Ozzie. You can't control Ozzie Guillen, and people now want to control that manager.
Wow. Yeah, because I think his baseball IQ is through the roof, and it just makes sense though. It just seems like in the last 10 years or 15 years or so, how the GMs and the front office have become more important than the managers, and the statistics, the sabermetrics, the statistics, the metrics, all that stuff has become more important. And being a former coach myself, I get it, but I also understand that every game, there's a feel to a game because every game is different. And when you manage by a feel, it would be very difficult. And a guy who's is outspoken and I don't want to say stubborn, but stuck in his ways like Ozzie, yeah, I can see why that would be a rough. That's a road they don't want to go down again after the first one.
Yeah, well, it used to be, whether it's a Joey Torre, a Dusty Baker, Tony La Russa, those guys were the face of the organization. They were making big money, $6, $7, $8 million. Mm-hmm. Now those managers now aren't making that money. The GMs are making that money. I mean, look at the Cubs. That point person is, Dave Epstein. He's making $10 million a year. His manager's making $1 million a year. It's like that everywhere. GMs aren't making that kind of money except for the Dodgers guy, Andrew Freeman. But the GM is the guy now. The face of the organization. It's not the manager. The manager is almost just a pawn, for the GM.
Hey, Bob, can we jump ahead a little bit here just to next season? I know I got my literature that came in the mail from the White Sox talking about 2021, and they'll be welcoming me back, which I'm glad because I bought the 10-ticket plan this year. Couldn't go to anything. What is baseball's plans kind of going forward for next year? Are they going to try to do 162, and are they looking at starting in April, or are they going to push it back to later? What's kind of going on with that?
Yeah, right now, Jason, the plan is spring training like normal, 162 game season. Now, about the fans, they don't know. I think what happened here in Texas in the NLCS and the World Series, having the stadium about a quarter filled, it has worked. So I think that's what's going to happen in baseball next year, where at least the start of the season, have maybe the season ticket holders about a quarter of the capacity, for those games, at least the All-Star break. Try it that way, wear masks and stuff like that. And then maybe you can have, more fans after the All-Star break. But I think, hey, we're probably heading for a second wave here of the virus. And then, so I think they'll be cautious about having a lot of fans at stadiums next year. But I think about a quarter, and then we'll see maybe second half what happens in the playoffs.
And then the All-Star game too. It was supposed to be where, in LA this past year? What was it supposed?
Yeah, it's supposed to be Dodger Stadium, first time since '80. So it's going to be the 40-year anniversary. It's going to be Atlanta this year. That was already set up. So right now it's going to be Atlanta's ballpark, and then it'll be in Dodger Stadium in 2022.
Okay.
Hey, Bob, great stuff as always. Have some fun out there. And I personally would love to see 7, but if the Dodgers can close it out tomorrow, that'd be fine too, because there was a 32-year drought that they're working on over there. So they need, as I've seen on my Facebook and Twitter timelines, Dodger fans are not happy. They want this closed out immediately. So it's great stuff as always, and we'll be in touch soon.
All right, take care. Thanks, John. Thank you.
Later, Bob.
Yeah.
Guys, that's Bob Nightingale. Man, he's a man. He's one of the he's a dude. It's like him and Ken Rosenthal are like the top two guys. There's one more I can't remember. There's the top 3 dudes for Baseball Info. Buster Olney. Yeah, and those are the guys. And when he comes on the show, I'm appreciative of his time, and he knows, man, it don't get any better than that. With Bob Nightingale. So that was wild. I'm glad when he talked about the script and Ozzy and dude, it makes complete sense now. It makes complete sense why teams don't want Ozzy. And I get it from a team perspective, but man, from a fan, and I'm still going to be a fan because that was 15 years ago. So, that's my guy. You know what I mean? That's my guy, Ozzy G.
Yeah.
And I love that about him. But, it's in this politically correct world. I mean, you saw his comments with Castro, how that did him in. And,
right.
Man.
Well, Shawn, the thing I find interesting about the White Sox, you fire Cooper, you fire Renteria, but the rest of the staff is still in place for now. But you can kind of assume that whoever the new manager is, they're going to let them bring in their own people. So I'm like, why not just let everybody go kind of now?
It's a good question. Some people, depending on who the manager is, and I can't believe he said the job is La Russa's. The job,
if he wants it, yeah.
and I honestly thought that they were, and if I had, unfortunately I faded out, thanks internet, because I was going to follow up and then like, are you serious? Like, but it makes sense because La Russa would be, but I guess it doesn't, because I know why. Because him and Reinsdorf are great friends. I remember Reinsdorf saying that he should have stepped in when Hawk fired him back in 83, 84, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so La Russa would go with the script because they're such good friends, or would he not go with the script because he's a 3-time World Series champion? I can do whatever the hell I want, and I'm 70 years old, so bump you.
Right.
How older people getting in there.
Right.
Trust me, I know. I take care of moms.
We both took care of older mothers. So yes, no, I'm not eating that. Yeah, well, Bob, I'm not eating that. Okay.
I got to go for a walk today. No, I don't feel like it today.
Right.
I'm not going. Right. What am I going to do? Punisher? Go to your room. So yeah, wow. That to me, dude, that's insane. That Tony La Russa is the dude. If he wants it, does he want it? That is the $1 million question. Does he want? Because whoever gets this job, man, this is in the party right here is the White Sox. That managerial job is you got everything. You need. Well, I shouldn't say everything. You need one more frontline pitcher, and a right fielder. Maybe Adam Engel could fit that slot. I think he can.
Yeah.
Or if you have to platoon him and Mazzara, I'm okay with that too. Just giving Adam Mazzara would get more time than Engel because of the contract, but Engel would get more than enough opportunities to do what he continue on the path that he had this year, because he came out.
Yeah, well, and let's be honest, he'd start more of the games because Eloy is going to be hurt for at least 40 of the games.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
Oh, okay.
He gets caught in the net and he tears his thumb he tears a ligament in his thumb for trying to stop it. Stop it, Ivan, you son of a biscuit. Leave El Pescado alone, okay? Well, he's going to do some. Yeah, so it is interesting. I could see that happening. I'm okay with that. So the frontline starter, and then the second biggest thing after that is McCann. Trying to keep that dude here. Trying to keep that dude, because if McCann goes, I'm very concerned about that rotation because of the youth on that squad. If there are more veterans in that rotation, I wouldn't be as upset if McCann left. And I'm not upset if he leaves anyway. My man's trying to make some money. Right? Mm-hmm. He's trying to make some money. He's coming off a couple of good years. All right, last year he had a good year. In the shortened season, he had a good year, and he wants to get paid. And I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you, Papa. You want to get paid and you want to start. And you know what? You've shown that you can handle a pitching staff, especially a young pitching staff. So anywhere he goes, he's going to be a huge asset, whether it's a young pitching staff and you kind of coax him through it, or it's a veteran staff, and now he adds his expertise to the mix of the veteran pitchers. That's even a more lethal combo when you got a veteran staff with a veteran catcher, and you partner those two together. So, he's going to be a hot commodity. Are the White Sox gonna shell out the money for him? I don't know. I hope so. My two things for the White Sox, Jay, this offseason, Trevor Bauer and James McCann. You give me that, we're set.
I agree. I agree with you, Shawn. I would go I'd go radical, extremely radical. I'm very interested they didn't give Zach Collins no play. I thought that was very interesting because I thought, they were going to carry that third catcher. Zach can also play first base. So maybe they don't have faith in him as an organization, because if they did, you could actually do something extremely radical in order to get, some of that frontline help that you may need on the pitching staff. You could actually trade Grandal and just go with McCann as your main catcher and Collins as your backup, because Grandal is going to get you a pretty good haul or whatever you need.
Man, Jason, I was just thinking that. I was like, Grandal, like you got him as a luxury. You really did. You got him as a luxury. So why not go ahead and take that luxury and get some assets coming back? Because what did we? Okay, we knew how bad Encarnacion was, but was there really a huge difference in the team with Grandal or without Grandal? Maybe 1 or 2 home runs, but it wasn't that big of a difference. His team just hit the ball out of the ballpark, all like up and down the lineup. So I think Grandal could be an easy casualty.
I agree, and I would rather keep. I'd rather keep McCann. I really would, because the money that you gave Grandal. Okay, now that money, Encarnacion money, is off the books. So now you can pay James McCann like a starting catcher, and you're right. So now you have to look at his backup. Who's that backup going to be? Is it going to be Zach Collins? If they have enough, I think it's, even if you because you can still keep McCann in the lineup with Collins behind the plate, so you can leave him at DH, and now, you have a rotation because you got him. Don't forget, you still got Andrew Vaughn, and to give these guys a rest if Jose is not, he needs a day off, or from the field, that is. So there's a lot of different things you can do, and I like Grandal, but I don't like him anywhere near as much as I love James McCann. So
yeah,
I love me some James McCann, and give me that dude who can settle down. Because if you're going to go with this young roster, because don't forget, we still haven't had Kopech up, have a full season. How would James McCann and Michael Kopech vibe? How would their chemistry be? If he's done so much with Lucas Giolito, he's done a lot with Dylan Cease and with Dane Dunning. How much better will Michael Kopech be, especially coming off a year where he didn't pitch? So he missed all of, the majority of last season. He missed all of this season. So he missed 2 full seasons. Time-wise, not actual baseball season, but time-wise of playing. What better way to get him reacclimated to the system than having a guy behind the plate who makes everybody comfortable? So
right,
that's going to be a tough one. Well, listen, we got to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we have more sports conversation. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone. NFL tonight, Chicago on the road visiting the Rams. The Bears are the leader atop the NFC North. They've got some company with Green Bay. This after the 5-1 Packers beat the Texans 35-20 on Sunday. The Packers' Davante Adams returned to the lineup in a big way. 13 receptions, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns. As for the Bears, they're 5-1 overall, 3-0 away from home. The Rams 2-0 at home this season, 4-2 overall. Baseball, the Dodgers are a win away from capturing the World Series. 4-2 the final over Tampa on Sunday. They've got a 3-2 lead in the best of 7. Game 6 is Tuesday night. As the Blackhawks continue to rebuild, head coach Jeremy Colleton called on Jonathan Toews, Patrick Kane, and other veterans to help set the tone. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 5560 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 5560. Enjoy.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago on this House Music Monday edition. And you see my guy in, he jumped in, and man, you talk about a save, man. Woo, Charlie. He came in. He came in with he was El Duque, and this today, boy, he was El Duque.
I like Corey Crawford when they taking 30 shots at him.
No, you're like El Duque, bro. Bases loaded, nobody out. You came in.
There you go.
You got that done. You got out of the inning. I appreciate it. Thank you to my crazy Wi-Fi and connection over here. I went out on our boy Bob Nightingale.
I sat there and I was like, oh no. At first I gave you the time because I was like, man, is he gonna come back? Because it looked like you paused and thought, and I was like, oh no. I was like, oh no. Luckily Jason was there, so thank you.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, Jason. I'm telling you, man, that was crazy. But that conversation with Bob, dude. I mean, you talk about really opening eyes and pulling the curtain back and talking about how baseball is with the script, and you got to follow the script.
Yeah.
And man, I'm still Tony La Russa. And I can see his point on AJ Hinch. Okay, you're gonna get booed. You're gonna do that. Even Cora, you're probably gonna get booed. But what about Bruce Bochy? Like, I'm okay with Bochy.
Right.
The guy
but
only
you know
won.
what, Shawn? But if you think about it, La Russa's not gonna lose you the game. Like, La Russa won't lose you the game. As old as he is, he's still a brilliant guy. Our concern is just how would the players relate to him. But in terms of, X's and O's, he's not going to lose you a game.
And I guess that's what they're saying. Like, listen, if you're not going to lose the game, I guess the players are going to like you because you're not losing games. Because there has to be some, let's talk. I wish there are some people that I really want to talk to who are in and out of the locker room. And this year was bad because they weren't allowed in the locker room. It was all Zoom. But I really want to see how many people would be, if anyone would on the record or off the record or anonymously, how many would not be happy with some of the decisions that Ricky's made?
You know what? That's a good question. I think that because the result was the result and the way the season ended, I think you'd find a lot more of those players who would be like, yeah, well, this was a move we needed to make. I think, they like Ricky, they respect Ricky, but I also think, they want to win. Tim Anderson want to win. Jose Abreu want to win. So if you can get those two on board, everybody else is going to fall in line. You know how it is being on a team. You got alphas amongst the alphas.
Yes. So I would love to hear, and we'll get some credentials next year with the White Sox, and we should be fully credentialed next year. Knock on wood. Able to get in the dugouts of the locker rooms and clubhouses for all the teams, and that'd be dope, because I want to know. I really would like to know the backstory and how they feel. Like you said, I've been in, as a player and as a coach, I've been in locker rooms, so players know. When your coach makes great decisions, when your coach makes jacked up decisions, it's as players, and that's something that I would love to get that information out of some of the players. And it helps that I speak Spanish, so I could talk to them in Spanish and ask them these things, and I could get it truthfully and not through an interpreter. Not because sometimes Billy will go off. This is the White Sox interpreter. They'll say something to Billy, go off in like 4 or 5 sentences, and I was like, that was like one sentence. Like, the answer was literally one sentence, and Billy's going off like 5, like going off on a tangent. Like, dude, I don't want to hear from you, Billy. You're just a mouthpiece. Just say exactly what he said. Translate it as close to as possible, and we don't need any extra stuff on there. You know what I mean?
I agree.
But yeah, so talk to me about this game, dude. One of the things that I asked Bob was, how huge was this for Kershaw? Kershaw's legacy, because he always seemed to, he was 12-12 going into this World Series, and he got roughed up in a previous couple World Series, and you got to take the one out from the Houston Astros. Yeah. But he still didn't have that success, and now this year, his 2 games, he pitched great. And
well, I thought it was important for Kershaw to do that, because he has that reputation. He's been able to erase that stain upon his reputation. He's had a fabulous career, but you think about Madison Bumgarner was known for what he did in the playoffs. Yep. Kershaw just as talented, but not as much success in the postseason, and it's hit his reputation. It'll be interesting. I think this is going to be a great game. I do think the Dodgers are going to win tomorrow. I think they'll close it out. But it's been a fun series to watch.
And I was playing devil's advocate with Bob, and I'm like, what if? And he's Buehler going Game 7. But okay, that makes sense. And again, obviously, that was determined by the front office. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, that sets it up perfectly for a team who I honestly had no idea who the hell the manager was going into the series. Okay, I couldn't name you one guy. I'm thinking Evan Longoria. Okay, like is he still on that team? I don't know. I'm trying to think of who the hell was on this Rays team that I knew.
Right.
So it's a bunch of anonymous Joes, and they're doing this, and so it makes for the perfect story. A team of unheard ofs beating damn near. Bob called him. He's pitching like Bob Gibson. He said, what better story would it be for the Rays to touch up Buehler in Game 7 for the win?
Yeah, I don't think it'll happen. I think if it gets to Game 7, Buehler is going to shut him down, and Kershaw will come out of the bullpen if it goes to a Game 7 too, because it's going to be all hands on deck. So if Kershaw can give you an inning or two, that's what he'll do. So it'll be interesting. I think the Dodgers are going to finish on tomorrow, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I say, Jason, I think they have to, just because I don't like that. I don't like the all hands on deck approach with the Dodgers in Game 7. It makes me uneven. It's like your team shouldn't have an all hands on deck approach. The way you're built, this shouldn't be an all hands on deck approach. But I mean, it's come to this. You got to give credit to the Rays, but damn, LA, your payroll said something else.
This is true.
And let's not forget, just because a payroll doesn't determine the quality of a player, and it also doesn't determine how you perform in big situations. There's still a stigma with Max Muncy, with Cody Peterson, with all these guys of losing the last 2 World Series that they were in. in the last, 3 of the last 4 years, or 2 of the last 3 years, they've lost. So that's a big psychological thing. And yeah, you want to win, and yeah, you're focused. But if there's any doubt, you lose game 6 and you go to game 7, there's some doubt creeping in their head. Let's keep it real, because you know that this is it. It could happen the same way it happened in game 4. Some crazy freaking play where the ball kicks away, or the catcher doesn't hold the ball, or the ball hits a line drive, it hits the third base bag and goes awry, and another run gets the score, and you lose off of that. We know about that, Nick Leddy, game 7 in the 2014 Western Conference Finals. So we know how something like that can happen in a game 7. Right. So I don't think that, and I think the Dodgers would have that in the back of their mind. I think it would be a great story if Tampa Bay can do that off of Walker Buehler. You know what I mean? That would be perfect. But whether they can or can't do it, I don't know. I just think a great story for, and like Bob said, it was one. LA won, Tampa Bay won. LA won 2, Tampa Bay won 2. LA won the third one. Now Tampa Bay won the third one. So you figure, LA wins, but then they break that curse. They break that string. So it would be perfect. And I don't know. I hope it plays out that way. I know Fox would love it to play out that way, but we'll see. I also see, because I don't have a dog in the fight. So if the Dodgers win, I'm cool. My cousins are happy. I don't have to call over there and talk them off the ledge. And if Tampa Bay wins, I'm cool with that as well too. Since my White Sox are a year away from seriously, right, Jay? Seriously contending.
Right.
Well, listen, we're going to switch gears. We're going to talk a little. There's my guy. We're going to switch our gears leading up to our guest at the top of the hour, 11 o'clock, Lucas Perfetti. We're going to talk a little Bears football, as today is game day, and I am fired up, baby. I peeped you, Jay. I peeped you. The Bears hat, the Bears color hoodie. I can't see. Is that a Bears hoodie, or is that just an orange hoodie?
It's just an orange hoodie. The Bears jersey's in the wash right now for tonight's game.
Okay, understand. Hey, I got you. That's cool. Well, it looks like it's a Bears jersey. It just got cut off. So yeah, I got my lucky shirt. We're 5-1 this season, so I'm fired up. Ivan's all decked out.
It's just got to be everything Bears. So pretty much anything I wear, I'm like, all right, this is it for today. Whatever I feel like, whatever jersey. I got Walter over there, I think I'm going to put on today. So for the game. So if I feel good about that shirt that day, I'm like, yep, this is it.
Is that the military veteran shirt, Ivan?
Yep.
Yeah, I just actually bought that for my best friend who was an Army guy.
Yeah, I got the hat coming too. I guess the hats came later because I bought this like a week ago.
Yeah,
hats came later. So I was like, oh well, I wanted a package deal, and I had to go buy the hat.
Yeah,
so more and
Yeah, that's a great deal for those who served, and thank you for serving as well. They got some great gear out there for you guys and girls.
I love it.
Okay, so let's not forget that's not till next month. So we're still in the cancer month. The cancer's month.
I got the hat. I got the.
Yeah, I see that. You got the little. It looks like the LGBTQ elemental P.
Yeah. Let's see. It's cancer. I guess
There you go.
Crucial catch.
Yeah. Okay. So I ordered. It's a funny story. I know we're supposed to be talking Bears football, but I ordered some sweatpants, some Nike, some Thermogear sweatpants. So when I go to the gym, because when I go to CrossFit, I warm up. I leave my sweats on just so when it's time for the workout, I'm lathered up. My muscles are warm, and I don't pull any muscles, strain anything. And so I get my stuff off of eBay because I'm like, okay, if I'm just gonna wear this stuff just to work out, like I'm not paying $60, $70 for a pair of freaking sweatpants. Okay, then I'm just gonna sweat and stank up. Okay, it doesn't make sense. So I ordered this. I have the pink on there because I have a pink shirt, so I'm gonna wear it tomorrow. For later today for CrossFit, because I didn't make it this morning. That's in a whole nother story. But so I got the pink. It says what's Lance's Armstrong thing? Live Strong. Live Strong. It has a pink thing, so I'm gonna wear. I should get that back tomorrow from my tailor because I had to pick it up. So I'm ready for the cancer thing. So I bought, dude. I'm fired up. I bought a olive green Bears thing from my guy John. You've seen him on.
Yeah,
you saw, dude. I got some Bear shirts. I got blue ones with the camo. I got the olive green ones with the camo bear. I got the new sweatshirt. Yeah, I'm fired up for next month. So every Friday and Monday after the Bears, I'll have I'll have either the I'll have this shirt on. If we keep winning, that's not going anywhere. I can't do it. But I'll have the difference. I'll have the sweatshirts on. I might have the shirt in the back, or or right over, so you'll see the shirt. But you know how it's just, we got to stick with our months. This is Cancer Month, okay, and next month is Salute to Service Month, okay. Crucial.
Honestly, I think I'm kind of universal in this aspect, because I got the hat and the shirt, and this is kind of like a year all the time thing for me, isn't it not? You know what I'm saying? So I think I'm in the good. You guys,
don't we only salute you in October, so it's.
But you know what, though, Shawn? It's also Domestic Violence Month as well, which often gets overshadowed in October. And it, to me, the irony, we hadn't talked about it, but I thought it's very ironic that you signed Antonio Brown during Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
That is very ironic. That is very ironic. He came in, and there was a whole bunch of things. So according to Jay Glazer, he was talking about that Russell Wilson was talking with him and trying to get him over, but at the same time, so was TB12, and he's got history with TB12. Last year, the one game that they played, he caught a touchdown with him, and I'm a little leery about that whole situation, because what happens when Mike Evans and Goodwin come back, and they're healthy, because remember from what was being said is that Bruce Arians wanted no part of him. He wanted no part of him, and Tom was like, okay, well, what if our receiving core gets hurt? He's like, if our receiving core gets hurt, he goes, then I'll revisit it. And then Goodwin went down, and then Mike Evans was down, and they already lost OJ Howard for the season, and so now he's just like, all right, let's revisit it. And how can you say no to Tom Brady? I mean, he says, let's revisit this. So and Tom's not a guy to suppress the issue. He's very key and strategic. So when the receivers went down, he was like, can we do that? Can we have this conversation again? And sure enough, they did, and they signed him. He should be back.
Well, Bruce has made it crystal clear that if there's anything,
no leash.
any ripple in the locker room, he's gone.
There's no leash. There's no leash.
So how much do I believe that? A little bit, because Bruce took a stance prior to and didn't want to sign him back in March. So I kind of believe him. I do believe him in that aspect, but it's like. How do you? I feel like Antonio Brown knows where he's at right now. Knows he's in a losing, not a losing position, but he's in no position with leverage. He's not in a position of leverage. He needs to go ahead. He needs to go ahead and be he needs to follow the rules. But at the same time, he wants to tie himself with Tom Brady, because Tom Brady's the GOAT. He has to make up for what he's done. So I feel like this is a legacy move for him. He also needs a Super Bowl. He knows that they're a contender. And it's all like Tom Brady and the Buccaneers and what they were doing already will mask Antonio Brown's BS and what he's done prior to. Because the big thing right now is like, oh, wow, they got AB. The Buccaneers are going to go ahead and try to win a Super Bowl. It's not, oh, yeah, wow, they got AB. Weren't they talking about not signing AB back in March? Aren't you worried about the locker room? Aren't you worried about how he's going to be with the other receivers? Is he going to be selfish? Is he going to be that selfish non-teammate that he used to be? Is he going to walk off the field? Is he going to not show up if this goes off the rails in Tampa Bay? Is he going to not show up for a game?
I'll say this, Ivan.
Go ahead. You go first, Jason.
I think AB is going to be AB, because he is who he is. Mm-hmm. I think when teams make these moves, very rarely do they work out. Houston traded for, who was that closer from Toronto who was beating up women, and then their PR people started talking stuff about it, and they ended up getting fired. There's a certain amount of karma I don't like bringing around me, because I know it's going to come back to haunt me. And Antonio has got a lot of baggage, man. That dude is off the chains and off his meds.
Part of the issue, as well as this, is when you're an athlete, and this happens to a lot of athletes, you've been catered to your whole life. Okay, from grammar school to high school to college to the pros, you've been catered to, and I'm not denying his talent. There's no way you could hate the guy till kingdom come. Okay, and that's your right. But there's no denying that this guy at one point for about a 4 to 5 year stretch was the best wide receiver in the NFL. Okay, he's got talent, and he realizes that talent is going to get him some leeway. And I don't know if when you do that, when you make exceptions, you make allotments for him because of his talent, he's going to say, see, I can do whatever the hell I want, and someone's still going to sign me.
Mm-hmm.
And with his his mental state, because I feel he's mentally unstable. I think he's one guy who really needs some serious counseling. I think that's going to be pervasive throughout his thought process. See, they brought me back, Tom Brady, the GOAT. They can't do nothing to me. Tom Brady vouched for me. I think it's a sense of enablement, so to speak, because the thing that you love most, or that has really gotten you your fame, is not being taken away despite your transgressions, although they should be taken away. And he's going to feel that to a certain point, like, oh, see, I got the GOAT. They're not gonna get rid of me. Tom Brady vouched for me, when in all essence they will get rid of him, because if once Evans and Goodwin get healthy, how's that going to work? So what if it takes them 2 or 3 weeks to get healthy, or maybe a little longer, and now him and Tom Brady have a connection. Okay. But then where do Mike Evans and Goodwin fit? Are they going to want the ball? And if they want the ball, they start getting the ball. Is Antonio Brown going to be okay with him getting less ball? Because now you still got Gronk over there, and you see what's happening now that they've been playing together. That chemistry is coming back. Chemistry hit Gronk and Brady is coming back. So what happens when Antonio is not going to be the focal point anymore? Is he going to revert to old AB? Has he learned from his past transgressions? We don't know. And I tell you the truth, I don't know if he knows, because you said the most important thing. That dude's off his meds.
Yep. Gone, man. And Brandon Marshall, to his credit, and here's the difference. Brandon Marshall realized, okay, I got some issues here. I need to really take care of this. And he really took care of his mental health situation and became a much better person, and was still a talented wide receiver. Antonio Brown hasn't addressed his medical condition as far as we know. And until he does that, you can see the train crash coming. Now, if these last few months he's gone and gotten medical help, he has been out of the news, because for a minute he was in the news every week doing something crazy. And he lucky the police didn't shoot him the time they showed up at his house, and he started going off on them. We know how cops do black people. So he's very lucky he didn't get shot. If he's taking care of his mental health issues, then maybe he's got a chance. I just don't see that with this dude. And I don't see this with the dude that's currently occupying Pennsylvania Avenue in D.C. either.
And Jason, I was going to say that not only the cops. What if he did it to a work, like he did to that moving truck driver? What if he was a concealed carry and he felt the first? What if he pulled it on him?
Right.
But those are the things that you risk. You risk your life when you act that way. You really do, because the person that you don't know anything about that person that you're overreacting to, or you're mistreating in that situation. Like, you have no clue. Like, you put yourself at risk. So, like, does he the way he puts himself at risk, the way he acted in leaving Pittsburgh, just the way he left the Oakland, it's hard to see this working out, in a Super Bowl, ending in a Super Bowl.
Well, it's all going to depend on him and whether he's grown or he hasn't grown, whether he wants to toe the company line or not. Because if he doesn't, like we said, there is no leash. You screw up once, you don't wear your mask the right way, and he might get cut. You know what I mean? You have your mask down under your nose exposed, you're cut. And it should be. All right, you just have too much baggage, and I know you're a good player, but they don't need you. You're a big help. They have 2 Pro Bowl receivers that they can go into war with, that they don't need you. You're just luxury for them. So we'll see. Listen, we got a luxury of a break coming up, because we got our actually the first time guest, and I'm looking forward to it. We're going to talk a little Bears with On Tap Sportsnet's Lucas Perfetti. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone. NFL tonight, Chicago on the road visiting the Rams. The Bears are the leader atop the NFC North. They've got some company with Green Bay. This after the 5-1 Packers beat the Texans 35-20 on Sunday. The Packers' Devontae Adams returned to the lineup in a big way. 13 receptions, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns. As for the Bears, they're 5-1 overall, 3-0 away from home. The Rams 2-0 at home this season, 4-2 overall. Baseball, the Dodgers are a win away from capturing the World Series. 4-2 the final over Tampa on Sunday. They've got a 3-2 lead in the best of 7. Game 6 is Tuesday night. As the Blackhawks continue to rebuild, head coach Jeremy Colleton called on Jonathan Toews, Patrick Kane, and other veterans to help set the tone. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 5560 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 5560. Enjoy.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago on this House Music Monday edition. Man, you know Julian Perez had Julian's driving this weekend.
Oh, really?
He had, so there's a whole bunch of house music DJs, some house music acts over at SeatGeek Stadium. And so I didn't go. I was supposed to go. I had a friend. She's dating one of the guys from Output. She's dating him. She's been dating him for a long time. But she happens to be my cousin's cousin on his other side. And so I ran into her about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And she's like, oh, my God. She's like, how are you? We were talking and everything. And she's like, oh, I'm going to go there. She goes, you want to go to there? I'm like, yeah, of course. She goes, oh, I can get you in. I was like, you can get me in? She goes, yeah, we'll go VIP. She said, my cousin is the promoter. And he's not going to tell me no. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, reach out to me. I said, because my business cards are still being made. I have a business card, and she didn't have her phone on her. It was over at the table. I was like, well, we're friends on Facebook, so just reach out to me and let me know what to do and everything. Nope, she didn't reach out. And then I saw a video of her with one of the other guys that we know, our mutual friend. Sure enough, front row in the section. I'm like, this heifer. Got me all geeked up, got me all fired up to go see some house music acts and DJs, and you flaked on me.
Hey, that's the way I feel about the weather, man.
Yeah,
the weather's flaky on me, man. Woke up this morning, I'm like, is that snow? That is snow.
It just started snowing out. I'm way out south in the South Burbs in Orland. So yeah, it just started snowing like 5 minutes ago out here. So that's nuts. Well, listen, we gotta switch gears and talk a little football.
There we go.
That's it. We're gonna talk a little football with our first time guest, and we're gonna preview this Bears game. He writes for On Tap Sportsnet. He does the Bears on Tap podcast. You can find him on Twitter at Lucas Perfetti46. I wonder if it's for the 46 defense. We're gonna ask him. And so let's welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning for the first time, Lucas Perfetti. Lucas, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Gentlemen, how we doing? Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. That has everything to do with the famous Buddy Ryan 46 defense, of course.
Okay. So it's obviously it's clear to say that you are a huge Bear fan if you're gonna go 46 on us.
I mean, yeah, it's something you're born into, right? And we've had a lot more dark years than bright ones in the past, in my lifetime at least. So we definitely reminisce on the 85 Bears, even if you're born in 91. You're born into it, man. It's something, it's at least we're not Browns fans or Lions fans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they even have fans, or how many of them are suicidal? I guess I shouldn't say that since it's, but what awareness month is it, Jay?
It's not that one, but yes, you shouldn't say that.
Thanks, Ivan, for putting up Cade McNown, who was banned from the Playboy Mansion, by the way. But anyway, today's a big day, a big game for our Chicago Bears. I'm not one guy who's extremely concerned about this, and here's why. If you look at the Rams record, what are they, 5-1 like us?
No, they're 4-2.
4-2. Who did they beat?
The NFC East. I mean, you took my point, and I hate, we talk about it as, what do you call that? Fighters math, where it's like fighter A beats fighter C. Our guy Duke, that pod guy Duke, talks about it. But you can't match up and be like, well, since we beat the Giants and blah, 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 you can't do that math. But no, at the end of the day, I feel like it's kind of lose-lose this game, and it has been all year for the Bears. Doesn't matter if they go into a team like the Lions, they have to beat them. If they don't beat them in a ridiculous fashion, then they're trash. You know what I mean? And if they lose, they're trash. Same thing with the Falcons. Same thing with really every team they faced except for the Buccaneers. But then you had the whole, injury thing about it, and it just kind of got swept under the rug. And everyone thinks the Bears are who they were when they played the Colts. And it's just like, it's lose-lose, because if the Bears beat the Rams, then it's like, well, who did they beat? The NFC East. And then if they lose to the Rams, it's like, well, if they play a real team, then they're going to lose. You know what I mean? It's just it's been like that the whole year. But I think that the Bears actually feed off that. You see Khalil Mack in posts, people talking bad about him personally and his stats and stuff. So they're pretty fired up. And you can see the defense is playing that way.
When you get people who do things like that and they get mad at stats, these are people who have no concept of football. These are just meathead football fans. I'm a meathead football fan to an point, but I'm extremely knowledgeable. And for people to say something, to get mad at the lack of sacks from Khalil Mack, have no concept of the game of football. Mm-hmm. Those are the fantasy people, like, oh, you're killing me in my fantasy. I'm not getting any points from you. When you don't realize that the dude is literally getting assaulted every single God-blessed play that he's on the field for, whether it's being held, whether it's being horse-collared, whether it's being double-teamed, whether it's being tripped, whether it's being, pulling his jersey, whether pulling his leg, pulling his arm, every single play this guy is doing. And I understand, he gets paid a lot of money, but man, the things that they do to this guy is literally, you can get 2 to 4 in some states for what they do to Khalil Mack.
I mean, and he's still getting there all the time. And people want to bring up the same argument with Robert Quinn. And it's like, you paid this guy $14 million, blah, blah, blah. He's only got 1 sack or whatever the number is. If you watch the last game specifically, if you just zero in on Robert Quinn, you look at Robert Quinn, he is literally caught that last interception. That's all Robert Quinn. There's a huge play on an inside stunt that there was a sack at the beginning of the game. That was all Robert Quinn. He is a force to be reckoned with, and he's right in people's faces. Anytime you see a big play, go back, and you're going to see Robert Quinn in the face of the quarterback, no doubt about it. There was one play specifically that's not going to ever show up in a stat sheet, but just an incredible football play. Teddy Bridgewater, it actually saved points on the board, but Teddy Bridgewater had a really clear lane too, because he saw that they were doing the same stunt with Bilal Nichols and Robert Quinn. Robert Quinn comes inside, and Bilal Nichols is going outside. He knows right there, but he could beat Bilal Nichols to the corner. Robert Quinn is coming from an inside stunt, recovers, and forces him out to the outside of the defense. I don't even think he gets a tackle for that, but he's 100% the guy who made the play. You know what I mean?
So we broke that down with our buddy Phillips last week. And, and the one thing that, you make a great point in that it was a twist, and it was it's called a ET, where the end comes in, the tackle comes around.
Yeah.
And so the thing that Robert Quinn did, which no one knows unless you actually know football, is that Robert Quinn. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to go at the guy who's covering who's over the nose, nose tackle, and you attack him. So he attacks you, and the other guy goes, and the guy can go around free. But what Robert Quinn did is Robert Quinn held on to his man as he went in. He didn't go right at the center. He held on to the guy over him as he went down. So now he had the guy that was covering him, and now he went and he chipped and he collided with the guy over Bilal Nichols. So now that's why Bilal Nichols came around free on that sack, because of the fact that Robert Quinn had his guy as he ran interference on the center. So there's nobody to, who the guy who's covering Robert Quinn was supposed to peel off. If line blocking, he was should have peeled off and got the looper. Well, he couldn't because Robert Quinn had him pretty good. Mm-hmm. So if you don't understand football and you don't know football, you think, wow, Bilal Nichols did everything else, and where's Robert Quinn? Well, Robert Quinn made that play because of what he did. And I agree with you, Lucas. His pressures are up, and those pressures are going to turn into sacks very, very soon. And we're going to start to have, because one of the things that I wanted, and we're going to start to see this maybe this week, maybe tonight, but moving forward and as the season goes on, I want a couple meetings at the quarterback with him and Mac. And I think there's going to be quite a few conferences, quarterback conferences.
Yeah, there is one team there was the one play, I want to say it was against the Giants, that was actually where they met at the quarterback strip sack that got taken off the board, because we've had like 4 or 5 penalties taken off the board and a couple touchdowns on defense. But I don't want to really dive into the officiating, because it just seems a little one-sided in my opinion. But yeah, some teams get the LeBron calls or the Jordan calls, and some teams don't. And we're one of the teams that don't, that's for sure.
Now, guys, we're joined by Lucas Perfetti from the On Tap Sportsnet and their Bears on Tap podcast, talking a little Bears football right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. So let's talk about this offense. We have our new guy, the new signal caller, and he's running things pretty effectively. But let's talk about in particular that offensive line. How do you feel this offensive line is going to perform today? Because this offensive line has been horrible. Those 2 tackles have been horrible. They're highly paid, horrible tackles. You have Rashad Coward at a guard, who he has no God-blessed reason to be at a freaking guard. So we can't run the ball as well as we want. How do you think this offensive line is going to play today against some guy named Aaron something or other? I heard he's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're going to have to scheme things against him, and the Bears have actually done a really good job with that. I think he's only had 1 sack over the past 2 years. And you think of
James Daniels, though. He was the guy who locked him down. That's
tough too. But I mean, Cody Whitehair also plays a big part in that. They're going to have to scheme. They're going to have to follow. They can't follow the exact same blueprint as what the San Francisco 49ers did, considering they're a stretch zone team. And we're not. But realistically, if you look at what the 49ers were doing really well too, a lot of swing passes, a lot of really quick routes that had to do with trying to get yards after the catch, and they were doing that. And they also have a couple of receivers in Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk that can actually do that really well. And we don't have the same advantages. But realistically, yeah, you gotta. I'm just gonna look at history, right? Because history told me in the last 2 games that Aaron Donald was going to wreck the game, and he didn't. So I'd like to think that they're going to find a way to scheme against it. Of course, Rashad Coward is tough. I know this is kind of like I don't know, what do you call it? An assumption, but I think Alex Bars is going to start this week. I think that they thought Alex Bars was going to be their long-term solution, and he popped up on that injury report with the shoulder thing. Maybe it was like a mild strain and they didn't want him to tear it. So they were thinking long-term. And thinking Aaron Donald, making sure he was healthy for the game. But I guess we'll find that out. But you're right. Like, there's some pieces missing. I think Massey actually is a lot better than people give him credit for. But Charles Leno is really, really struggling. And it's like, there's not much you could do about it. I don't know if you want to try out Jason Spriggs. I don't know what you want to do. We actually talked on Bears on Tap about possibly moving him into guard, because he is pretty fast for a tackle. You can't really make that transition all the time. But as you get older, I think 2018 was peak Charles Leno, and it was average at best. And we've seen a decline since then. Teams are really taking advantage of him, and that's tough. But the Coward thing in the inside, what helped Charles Leno before was having James Daniels there. That was a nice stabilizing piece at left guard. But then when you put him next to your weakest O lineman, it really makes things look bad. So I'm kind of hoping they figure something out. I don't understand why they haven't made a run like Quentin Spain. Maybe they had no interest in him, but even try to trade one of these teams like the Jets or the Jaguars, or one of these teams that are just a complete dumpster fire, like try to get a 4th, give up a 4th or 5th rounder and go get yourself somebody. I think actually the Bears gave up their 4th, but either way, give up a late round pick on some conditions and try to go get somebody that's maybe a a guy on his rookie contract with a little bit of promise that you evaluated well a couple years ago.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Hey, Lucas, here's my concern. I think we all have concerns about the offensive line. I also think it's the reason why the Bears are going to lose this game tonight. Couple reasons, though. In addition to us having that offensive line, which is like Swiss cheese, you're also playing on Monday night. You're also playing out in LA with the time difference. And the Bears have historically struggled going out to the West Coast and playing, especially on Monday night. Talk me off the ledge as a Bears fan on why I shouldn't be concerned for those factors.
All right, so Nick Foles is an average quarterback. We all see it every single week. He's an average quarterback with a high IQ that can make checks at the line and put his players in good positions. He also has some weird sort of magical thing behind him, and I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. Maybe it kind of reminds me of a Scalabrine thing back when the Bulls had D Rose, like somebody that's just clutch and just someone that's just got like that good aura about him. You guys were talking about wearing your shirt. The only game we lost, I didn't wear this Peyton throwback jersey, so it's on for the entire day. Like, I'm a very superstitious person in that aspect. Brandon, who comes on, he says he only stands in the second half. I make sure he's always standing up as soon as that ball's kicked off in the second half. Like, I'm a superstition guy, but I think at the end of the day, aside from Nick Foles and, kind of breaking, I think he's a superstition breaker. He's a curse breaker, Nick Foles. But realistically, if you look at Jared Goff's performance, that's where I get my confidence from, because their defense is actually pretty good. They've been exposed in the running game a little bit, like DVOA wise, they're between 10 and 15 in most categories. So they're not like the best defense we've seen by any means. But realistically, our defense, if you look at the track record, ton of sacks, a safety, 5 interceptions, no touchdowns is Jared Goff's stat line against the Chicago Bears. So realistically, and now that they got John Jenkins back in the lineup, they have more of that nose tackle presence. You know what I mean? And we're definitely still missing Eddie Goldman, but having a true nose tackle there and letting Bilal Nichols play on the end again and work as 5-tech is absolutely key to what our running game, like how much better it looked last week. Because if you remember in the first few weeks, Ronald Jones was tearing off yards. Like everyone seemed to be getting like 7-8 yards a clip on the Bears for a little while, but they tightened things back up last week. And I think it had a lot to do with just having the presence of a bigger body at the nose.
I think the other part of the game that we kind of overlook, I think the Bears have been very good on special teams for the most part. I think their punt coverage has been great. I think their punter is flipping the field for them. He's been getting some pretty good punts down inside the 20. The only place I see there being a concern in that part of the game has been their punt return game. I know Tariq Cohen's injury had a lot to do with that. Cordell Patterson is going to be Cordell Patterson. I'm still thinking he's going to break one here pretty soon. Talk to me a little bit about the special teams and what had been a weakness of the Bears the past couple of years has kind of been solidified through the injury to our one kicker and then just other people stepping up.
Yeah, I mean, man, Cordell Patterson, like I can't get enough of the guy. I know some people don't want to see him in the backfield, but when it comes to him I think they figured it out kind of a little bit. Give him those wheel routes outside of the backfield. Don't set him up like he's a power back. But realistically, his value on special teams, I think he's worth every single penny, because not only is he a threat to return the ball every time, and they actually had DeAndre Houston Carson on the Bears All Access show talking about how pumped up it makes them to play on kick return, because so many teams don't get maybe one return a game. Now you're going to see the Bears break, like the Bears broke one last year. And in a time where kick returns are getting few and far between, you got a guy that's always taking it out and giving you that potential for a big play. And there is something in the air in Chicago. Like, you got to be a good kick returner out here. Like, we can't, even if you look like through the history before Hester, like we've had a lot of really good kick returners, not even just Gale Sayers. You got to go and look, ton of Pro Bowl and all pro kick returners.
Jerry Zuma.
Yeah, absolutely. Through all of the years. So that's something that is important, I think, to Bears fans, because when the weather gets cold, like Tariq Cohen too, another guy that I feel like gets a lot of trouble. A lot of people were upset about his extension and stuff like that, but he added so much value on punt return. I don't think people realize those. An 18-yard return is so much more than you can imagine, especially when your offense has really a lot of trouble getting 18 yards. So putting yourself in field goal position right after your defense gets a 3 and out, that's a huge setup. We need to make sure. I know that they put Anthony Miller back there for the one snap after Tariq Cohen got injured, but just keep Ted Ginn back there. Get someone that could secure a fair catch, because Miller just even the way he tried to haul the ball in, it just seemed like he caught it over his head with his hands like this instead of just like, I don't know. I've never been a punt returner. I was an offensive lineman, but it just looked sketchy to me, and it just seemed like don't have him back there.
Speaking of Anthony Miller, I'm glad you brought him up. Talk to me about his play. He's been very erratic, and it seems as if, and I'll be honest with you, it seems like he's been reading his own press clippings. He's going half-ass on a lot of plays. We broke that down the other day too on one play where he it was a rollout or a boot. I don't remember specifically, but he's past the first down marker. He was open, but Nick Foles hit through to Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet carried it. I think he got the first down, but once the ball didn't come to him, he threw his hands in a fit, walked off. It was by our sideline, just walked off the sideline, just kind of pouted. Talk to me about him and his game, because he's missed. After that opening week catch against Detroit, he really hasn't done much, and he seems to have let Darnell Mooney take over his spot, surpass him on the depth chart. But he also seems to have lost interest and kind of gotten a little, I don't want to say cancerous, but I'll just say not totally dialed in.
No, I see exactly what you're saying. Like, and it's kind of been a thing with Miller since he's got here, right? And I want to preface this by saying I think, like, I loved Anthony Miller. When they drafted him, I thought he was an absolute dog. Like, and he is, and he plays with that chip on his shoulder for sure. But it's very evident that, like, that's that stereotype of what do you call that? Like what was T.O.?
Diva.
I'm blanking on the word diva. Yeah, with wide receivers. Like, that kind of seems like he gets that, but he doesn't have the backing behind it. So it's like, if you're going to give no effort plays without the high end plays, like, that's an issue. And here's the thing. I think he would work better in an offense like Seattle or something like that does a lot of scramble drills. But when it comes to what the Bears want to do, they're very timing specific and being in the right spot at the right time. And I feel like that's always been something we've heard Matt Nagy say. Oh, Anthony Miller was 2 yards too deep on this route, or he was 2 yards too shallow, or it's just he's got to pay attention to the details. And I think it's the actual skill set is there, but I think something mentally just isn't clicking with him in the offense. And I feel like he's one of the only people they kind of because the Bears have been very good at putting a lid on a lot of stuff and not letting stuff get leaked to the media. This A-Rob drama is probably the most we've seen since Ryan Pace has got here, for real. So, I mean, if you think about it, like, they've done a really good job with everything, but there was a small time when the offense was shuddering last year where Anthony Miller kind of started getting a little bit more vocal about Matt Nagy too, and just overall the offense. And it got shut down right away, but there was like 2 interviews where you're like, oh, A-Rob is pissed for sure. Or Anthony Miller is pissed for sure. But it just seems like, to me, I love what Darnell Mooney's doing. And as much as I like Anthony Miller, like, Darnell Mooney seems to be a guy with a very high IQ that is always in the right place at the right time. He still gives you that speed element down the field. You know what I mean? And he's able to take the top off of the defense, but he's also able to find those soft spots in the zones and be in the right place at the right time to make a reception. So very promising for a 5th round pick. I see nothing but good things for him moving forward.
Gotcha. Hey, Lucas, by the power vested in me, I'm going to make you the Bears general manager. Okay. Trade deadline is coming up next Tuesday at 4 p.m. So you got 8 days. You're the Bears GM, Lucas. What are you looking for? What are you trying to do by next week?
That is tough, man. That is very difficult. I know a lot of people want to see something flashy, like a receiver, this, that. Me personally, like I said, you got to go and try to get a conditional pick for a guard. I don't know who's available or who's on the block right now, but you got to go and try to get something. Because at the end of the day, like, even if Alex Bars does turn out to be decent, we're still one injury. Like, we're not a great offensive line with our full starting lineup. So without our starting guys, we're one injury away. Like, Cody Whitehair gets hurt, Bears are in a lot of trouble. You know what I mean? So you got to, at least for depth wise, go get it, or go scoop somebody off someone's practice squad. Go do, you know what I mean? You probably had someone high on your board that didn't pan out in training camp right away, or, you know, someone like a depth piece that's on someone's practice squad. Go get them and activate them to your 53-man roster. The Bears are finally in a good position where next year, I know a lot of people want to say they're pressed up against the cap, but you're able to get out of a lot of contracts next year. And realistically, if you want to roll forward with Nick Foles, you're right back on that rookie deal if you go ahead and draft a quarterback. and Nick Foles isn't killing your salary cap. So I think, you got all your draft picks left. You finally get a first, second, third round pick, and the first time in a few years as well. So I feel like as much as people want to see a huge trade for the deadline, you have a good team, but you also have the core of your defense paid for a while. Let's not try to go all in on this season right now for a guard when we can, just keep winning games the way we're winning them. Be competitive, keep everybody in-house, because a lot of people want to see Nagy and Ryan Pace fired. It's like, dude, do you not remember? Like, if you looked at 2015 or 2014, like, I think I would rather play with the Chicago Bears B team right now than the roster we had then. So it's like, just pump the brakes for a second. The Bears were in a bad pinch because they had a full offseason and they had the opportunity to trade for Khalil Mack after a full offseason of spending, trying to build around the quarterback. So, of course, he missed on Mitch, but at the end of the day, like, this team is very much so trending in the right direction. And everyone's just got to chill out, got a full draft next year, find a way to make some cap room. Go ahead. You can get rid of Leno, use that rollover cap you have with Leno's money, and go sign a bona fide left tackle, draft yourself a guard, and you're ready to go for 2021. You know what I'm saying?
Guys, that's Lucas Perfetti. Hey, buddy, great stuff, man. I really appreciate it, man. We're definitely going to have you back on. I love what you do. So do me a favor, though. Let everyone know where they can find you and your work online. Yeah,
absolutely. You could follow me at Lucas Perfetti 46. Lucas is spelled with a C. Also, go ahead and follow Bears on Tap or On Tap Sportsnet. We do a ton of Chicago sports content across the board. If you're a gambler, we have picks every week and stuff like that. And bear down, everybody.
Bear the freak down, baby. I'm looking for a big win this evening, and I just think that
Bears are going to win. Bears are going to win.
So give me your prediction.
Bears are going to win by at least 4. That's the prediction I'll give you. I don't think it's going to be. It might be 17-11. Like, I don't know. It could be one of those weird scoring games because of safeties and stuff like that. Like, I truly think it's going to be what we've seen for the last 2 years. To be honest, I don't see much changing.
I think it's going to be a little higher. I think Foles is going to be able to put a few more points on the board for us. I just think that the Bears have Jared Goff figured out. I think they got him shit in his pants. I think because he's been beat up the last couple times we played him, and I just don't have confidence. I don't feel good in him as a quarterback. Thank God he's not my quarterback. And I just don't think he's as he's in the level of tier of quarterbacks that some people, especially Rams fans, want to put him in. I just don't think he's very good, and I think we can get to him. I think we have got to him, and I think we're going to get to him again. One good hit. I'm telling you what, whenever we played, and I was a defensive coordinator, whenever we played, there was one guy, and I won't say who his name was, but I would say, hey, listen, give me 15. And I would say one shot, like maybe a late hit, or maybe a drive him into the turf, maybe a something to get the quarterback rattled, and like, holy cow, that hurt, or this. And then once you get inside his head, it's done. It's done.
Yeah, if it's as long as it's not egregious like that hit we saw on Andy Dalton, I think, yeah, absolutely. Like, even what we saw with Kyle Fuller, it shouldn't have been a flag. It was a flag, but I think anyone on that team would take that flag every single time, because after he lit dude up, no one wanted to catch the ball in the defensive in the defensive backfield anymore. And if you think about Jared Goff, the reason he's very average, he's schmeh. He's definitely a franchise quarterback in the terms of franchise quarterback, but I wouldn't rank him above anybody ever. And every time I want to count him out, he'll throw 4 touchdowns. He's just one of those guys. You know what I mean? Yeah. But realistically, he's a seam thrower. And that's bad news when you have a seam thrower that doesn't like to throw under pressure, and you got Addy Jackson floating around back there. Like, that's why he hasn't had that much success. The middle of the field is where is his bread and butter. That's where he makes his money. Yep. And it's tough to throw in the middle of the field against the Bears, especially since the linebackers have started really juicing up in the last couple of weeks. I know we saw him struggle before. But yeah, thank you guys.
Hey, no problem, buddy. No problem at all. Like I said, we'll be in touch soon. All right.
Yeah. Take care. All
right. Thanks, Lucas. Guys, that was Lucas Perfetti from the On Tap Sportsnet, talking a little Bears football with us, and great stuff. Great stuff. He knows his stuff, and it's good. I'm glad his boy Brandon, that we have on the show often, he recommended him to us, and I'm glad. Great come up on that. So he just is good, and he knows what he's talking about. So we're going to have him on in the future. Good stuff.
Yeah, he is. I'm going to be the oddball. I'm going to say it's going to be Rams by 5. I just think our offensive line is going to get overwhelmed. We're not going to be able to run the ball. And, again, it's Monday night on the West Coast. traditionally the Bears struggle out there. I just don't have a good feeling about this game. I hope I'm wrong.
I hope you're wrong too, but I'm looking forward to a Bears victory. I just think that this defense is really starting to come into its own. I think Khalil Mack is really starting. I think Robert Quinn, they're starting to really get into football shape. Remember, no preseason game, so it's going to take a while. And even if you remember, like week 1, oftentimes with 4 preseason games, they're still not firing on all cylinders. So I mean, now we're into it. I think that this defense is they're going to have to do what they got to do, and that's carry this offense until they can be very threatening to some people, because some people don't feel our offense is very explosive or very it doesn't scare a lot of people. I think we can maybe down the line, but it's this defense is going to have to do what they do. And Eddie Jackson, just give me another pick 6, give me a scoop and score, just no more freaking penalties. That's what we need to work on. So
I think the addition of John Jenkins, like Lucas was saying, is going to be huge, especially for the run. But that for the pressure up the middle, you need to get Goff moving left to right, any which way left to right. He doesn't have to sprint to the sideline. You know what I mean? You don't have to completely flush him to get him to make a mistake. All you have to do is divert where he is, divert his line of sight, divert his window, and he's in trouble. You almost don't. I mean, I want you to get home. I want the pressure to get home, but it's almost like you could manipulate him more with just a rush, just a basic rush than you would actually bringing somebody running a stunt, blitzing. Like you can get to Goff easy. He's got cement shoes. I showed the picture. Like that's who he is. When you get him in pressure situations, he can't go anywhere, and he definitely can't throw on the run.
There's I forgot what movie it was. It was a Steven Seagal movie, and he quoted something, and he said, no, it's the one where he died and he comes back, and but anyway, they thought they killed him, but they didn't. Anyway, in there he says, there's a line, he says, the fear of death is worse than death itself. And that's the same thing with Jared Goff. Once you get the fear of him, once you hit him once, or once you swing and you hit him in the helmet, or he feels that, he's going to feel that more. And anytime that anyone gets close or there's any pressure, he's going to have happy feet. He's going to have a quick, maybe a snap, quicker throw than normal. He's not going to follow through. There's going to be a whole bunch of things that's going to affect him. When it really probably there is no true pressure, he's just going to sense it and he's going to act accordingly because of his fear. And with the progression that I've seen from Mac and Quinn, I think that fear is going to come really, really, really soon. And early in the game, early in the game. Well, we got to take one more break, the last break of the show. So don't go anywhere, folks. More sports conversation. We're going to have a little more Bear talk. And then Jason and I, we're going to talk a little Big Ten. Go Illini!
No, they didn't.
Go the hell out of here.
So we'll have more sports conversation on the other side. So don't go anywhere, folks. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone. NFL tonight, Chicago on the road visiting the Rams. The Bears are the leader atop the NFC North. They've got some company with Green Bay. This after the 5-1 Packers beat the Texans 35-20 on Sunday. The Packers' Davante Adams returned to the lineup in a big way. 13 receptions, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns. As for the Bears, they're 5-1 overall, 3-0 away from home. The Rams 2-0 at home this season, 4-2 overall. Baseball, the Dodgers are a win away from capturing the World Series. 4-2 the final over Tampa on Sunday. They've got a 3-2 lead in the best of 7. Game 6 is Tuesday night. As the Blackhawks continue to rebuild, head coach Jeremy Colleton called on Jonathan Toews, Patrick Kane, and other veterans to help set the tone. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 5560 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 5560. Enjoy.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago and his House Music Monday. Hey, it's Monday, baby. New goals, new week, new goals. Set them and crush them. Set them and crush them. Set them and crush them.
You're going to make me go work out now.
That's what I'm talking about, Jay.
I'm gonna work out.
Dog.
I am gonna work out today, man. You know, it's starting to get cold outside.
Do it.
Gotta get there. My wife and I went for a walk yesterday. She's like, it's cold. I'm like, yeah, but we gotta keep moving. Can't stay in the house and ain't going to no gym with COVID. So I can't take that risk. So I'm gonna have to work out around here. So I got my bands. I got some free weights around here, and I can get my cardio in around the neighborhood. So I'm definitely gonna get out there and get at it, baby. But let's talk this Big Ten, baby. Gotta talk about my IU Hoosiers with the big upset.
Whoa, what the hell is that all about, man? Holy cow. Penn State who? Penn State what?
Exactly.
Penn State who? Penn State what? But yeah, Indiana with a big upset over Penn State this weekend. And I guess you guys have gone polling. You got Indiana is now in the they're number 17 in the AP top 25. Is that where you went to school, Jay?
No, that's where the wife got that PhD from, so I got to promote them.
Damn, Jay, if there's one thing I could always say, man, you always getting them cool points with the wifey, boy. Always.
Yeah, right.
Always. But yeah, Indiana 17. They jumped to 17th in the poll after their victory over Penn State. And wow, it was a huge upset. And I know that kind of ruins Penn State's chances for any type of bowl, or I should say a playoff appearance. There was a very slim chance of that to begin with, but that ruined. It was done. After that, they're done. Because, you know, with the Big Ten starting late this past weekend, there were not too many teams that really had a shot. Big Ten teams. Right. Ohio State was the one team that had it. Wisconsin was another team that had an outside shot. Mm-hmm. And Penn State and Michigan were a little further away. A lot of things would have had to happen for them to kind of get even consideration into the play. Mm-hmm. With the loss to Indiana, Penn State's out of it. So, yeah, good game this weekend. I want to talk about the Illinois and the Wisconsin. I mean, and the Northwestern's game. The Illinois. Yeah. I don't know what, Graham Mertz is a redshirt quarterback, so his second year there, 20 to 21 for 248 and 5 tutties. He looked good.
He tore them up.
He looked good. And here's the thing: is like we know what Lovey runs. He loves to run that cover 2. Yep. And I'm watching there, and they're hitting him up the seam, and I couldn't see the coach's tape as to why the hell this guy is still hitting him up the seam, up the middle of the field. So I didn't get a chance to see that because I'm like, you got 2. He's playing a cover 2. So what the heck how are they still getting touchdowns in the middle of the field? So I don't have, like I said, I don't have the coach's tape. And sometimes when they show the replay, they don't have you don't get the bird's eye view, the coach's tape. And so I couldn't tell, but whatever they did, it was great. And I'll tell you what, Graham Mertz did a great job. A lot of his passes were perfectly thrown, perfectly placed. And you can beat a scheme. You can scheme a team or scheme players open, but you got to be able to get the ball there. And we've seen so often time with Mitch not being able to do. But this kid was able to put the ball where it needed to be on a consistent basis. I was extremely impressed with him.
Yeah, I was too. And, I'm extremely concerned about Lovie Smith. We had Howard Griffith on our show a couple weeks ago, and Howard had said that this is going to be Lovie's best team he's had since he's been there. But he also cautioned, he said, I didn't say they're going to win a lot of games. I said, but this is his best team, his best chance to win. Now, I'm considering everything that's been going on this year, with COVID. Oh, you're not going to play. Now you are going to play. This is their first game planned. You don't have any preseason games in college. I'm going to try to cut Illinois a little slack here. But they looked lost in that game. They looked like they had no clue what they were doing on defense. Their offense couldn't get anything going whatsoever. Lovie was already on the hot seat. Now, will he get an extra year because of COVID? Is that, something that they can bank on? But, when you are the highest paid employee in the entire state of Illinois, like he is, you can't have your team come out there and do that, man. You can't come out like that.
Not like
what's
that.
Going on down there in Champaign? He's got to get this thing fixed, and he doesn't have a lot of time because they're not even playing. What are they playing? 6 games, 7 games, something like that?
Yeah, 7 or 8 games, something like that for the Illini.
Yeah. So, he's gonna have to get this situation rectified and get it rectified quickly. Otherwise, he's gonna be on the unemployment line.
Yeah, he is. And Lovey's a good guy. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they have 8 games this year.
8 games, okay.
All right, so they're back home this week. And they came back to Champaign licking their wound after that ass whooping they got up in Madison. So they got Purdue. They got 2 home games, Purdue this weekend and then Minnesota the following weekend, which is going to be a tough day. And PJ Fleck and those guys, he's got them balling. So they got Purdue this weekend. So we'll see how they do against the Boilermakers at home.
Shawn, I was going to say David Kenyon warned us about Mertz. He warned us. Remember, we were talking about Illinois, and he's like, "Oh yeah, they got this quarterback red shirt," and we're just like, "Oh, all right, we watched the game, we're all excited," and then he just proceeded to light their ass up.
Mm-hmm.
It was we had the warning.
David did tell us about that, and he also told us about the quarterback. He also told us that Hunter Johnson wasn't going to be the starting quarterback for Northwestern either. And I'll tell you what, Northwestern. I want them. We were talking about them the other day. I really want them to do well. I like Fitz. Peyton Ramsey is their guy. Hunter Johnson was the big transfer quarterback from Clemson, and he was supposed to be. He was one of the top quarterbacks, if not the top quarterback, coming out of high school. Goes to Clemson. Got benched. He was on the depth chart. They got him. They thought this was the second coming of Christ, and they're fired up. And he just hasn't. It hasn't transferred. It hasn't clicked. And so their other quarterback who did well, Peyton Ramsey, if I'm not mistaken, is the guy's name. Good stuff. Northwestern had a big win this Saturday. I'll tell you what, it looked pretty good. It looked pretty good for Northwestern. I don't. We were talking about wanting them. I want them to become. Who was it? David Kenyon, like a Stanford.
Yeah, I agree.
If you can get to that level, that would be phenomenal. Because they did a huge. They had a huge move in that direction with the building of the $270 million facility, which is the top now in college football. If you can get some of those athletes, so here's the way you got to do it. You did the first part, and that's with the facilities, and that's what everyone. Oh, yeah. Secondly, now you got to hype Chicago. Listen, you're literally a 3-minute drive. If you go up down Sheridan, you're back in the city. Right on Lakeshore Drive, you're back in the city. Way up there and promote Chicago, but also, I would highly suggest you loosen some of the academic requirements to get in for specific players. Don't go all Miami on us. You know what I mean? And get all.
Hey man, leave my Hurricanes alone. We're legal this year.
But make some exceptions for some top tier talent. And then with the ability to market yourself and for athletes to have endorsements, their image and likeness, start working with local companies, car dealerships, restaurants, food chain stores, and say, hey, listen, you advertise with us anyway. How about, we have one of our players, advertise for you, be a spokesperson for your brand. And now you're getting the kid money. Now, you know what I mean? And let's keep talks. Money talks, especially when you're in college. Money is, the dollar goes a long, long way. You remember if you had $100 in college, you were balling. You were balling if you had $100 in college.
Yeah.
And so I think they really need to make some packages available for some kids. Say, hey, listen, now you can endorse this, and this. You can put some money in your pocket. We're looking at you to kind of be one of the guys who turns this program around and start treat football like a business. You're going to have to do that if you want to be a perennial contender in the Big Ten and eventually on the national scene.
Yeah, I think, we all want to see Northwestern make that next step. I mean, one thing about Chicago, as much as we love sports, we are a pro sports town. However, there is room for colleges here, whether it's DePaul basketball, whether it's Northwestern football. If they put teams out here to consistently compete and they win the championships, you'll start seeing more people gravitate toward our college teams here. When Loyola made it to the Final Four a couple of years ago, the whole city was pulling for them. We all got behind Sister Jean. It was really cool. It was a really different vibe for the city. I'd love to see Northwestern, follow up on their claim of being Chicago's Big Ten football team. Let's see what they can do. We have seen them do it. We've seen Coach Collins make some strides in basketball as well. They've gotten better, but they got to be consistent. They got to win a championship, or to at least a Big Ten title, to really get people to kind of get behind them. But I do think, the building of the facilities up there, which I've seen are beautiful. I worked a game at Northwestern a few years ago for volleyball. It's beautiful up there now, man. And they got just a wonderful campus, and sell Chicago, just like you said. It can be done. Stanford has proven it. It can be done. Truth be told, Notre Dame ain't easy to get into easy. They seem to keep a pretty decent football team. You know what I'm saying? So, there are ways it can be done. I think a lot of it just depends on the commitment of the president of the university and the board of trustees and what type of commitment they want to put toward athletics and academics. We've seen Whitney Young do it on the high school level. It can be done. A lot of it is just the will of the administrators, and in this case, of the president of the university.
Yeah, you're right. And Whitney Young is a great example of it. So you have other schools, like you have Georgia Tech, you have Georgetown, you have Stanford. These are institutions that have a reputation for excellence in academics. Yet they still have excellent sports programs. Obviously, you remember Georgetown was a perennial in the Big East and in the national scene, winning national championship.
Yeah,
at least getting to the championship game. Georgia Tech, another one who with a high academic reputation, and then Stanford as well, and then not to mention Notre Dame. So it can be done. It can be done. Well, that's where they want. That's where, if they want to go there. See, the thing about that is it's all about money. So you shut out all this money for the new facility. Now you're going to need some players there who can bring some victories. You need some players there who can, if you're not in the college football playoff, you're right outside of it. Okay. And you have you consistently want, if you're not in the college playoff, then you need a New Year's Day bowl game. And there's 6 of them, I think. So you need to be playing on New Year's Day. And then that starts bringing you more money. And you guys going to the NFL now, they're donating back, because you're getting these studs who make it to the next level, and that now you're recouping the money that you paid for this new facility. I haven't been in that facility yet. I can't wait till I do get my first chance to go in there.
It's beautiful, man.
But I've seen the drawings, the renderings, when they took us through, on I forgot what TV show, or if it was just online. I think it was just online. They took us through it, and man, it looks amazing. It looks amazing.
Yeah, they've done a lot of upgrades on that campus, and and as long as we're on this college football, we got to talk about, Jackson State got put on, probation. Deion Sanders just gets there. And now the NCAA announces that Jackson State is going to be put on probation for violations that occurred before Deion was there. But they got 2 years of probation, a fine of $5,000, a 2% reduction in baseball scholarships. The football program must serve a 1-week ban on unofficial visits in each of January, February, March, and April of next year, and a reduction of 4 football official paid visits during the 2021-2022 academic season. I'll have you talk a little bit about that and how that hurts a program in terms of those penalties and recruiting as you went through that recruiting process yourself.
Yeah, it's nowadays all the athletes want to be catered to, okay? And so you can still have guys, you can have local guys go up there and visit the school. Okay, it would just have to be an unofficial visit. Mm-hmm. Okay, but a lot of times you're going to want guys, cater to me. I'm special. Look, I'm going to go on Instagram Live. I'm going Facebook Live or whatever. And it's going to affect them because kids, since they're not going to get that treatment, that's one less week for them to do it. So you can only have a certain amount of kids per week. And when you reduce the amount of paid visits, that's the amount of that. So you're going to have to be very particular with the kids that you have. So are you going to go after if you're Jackson State, are you going to go after the guy who's maybe if he's getting some scholarships, some offer for some bigger schools, but it'll probably just be a role player, or if he comes to your school will be a big time contributor? You go after him? Do you go after one who I know because Deion wants to use his name and his fame to bring some of those maybe rotational players like on a Division I school down to the 1AA level to dominate. So do you offer those guys the paid visit? What do you do? And that's a terrain you got to navigate, and that's a lot to ask a new head coach to navigate. And if he screws it up the first year, it could have ramifications moving on, because you never know who these players are connected to, who they're, it could be in the same school with another guy that they want to recruit next year. So there's a lot of ramifications that can take place if you do it the wrong way. And if you do it the right way, it can work out perfectly as well too. You can navigate it and still come out smelling like roses. So, but it's not something you want to ask a first-year head coach from a guy who really hasn't coached very much at a high level to do.
Jason, what was the sport, or why were they penalized? Was it because of another sport? So was it just the recruiting as a university as a whole that was punished?
So they had a former staff member who provided $300 to the godmother of a football prospect. And then the former staff member also arranged for tutoring to assist the prospect who was transferring in, and also helping completing some courses that were needed for the student to become eligible. And all those were NCAA violations.
Okay.
They're going to have to navigate that. They're going to have to navigate that. They're going to have to get people. You're going to need tutors for players. You're going to have guys who are eligible. So that's going to have to be navigated, and that's another thing that he's going to have to deal with. I'm sure he's going to delegate it, but it doesn't matter if you delegate it or if you do it yourself. You're the one who's going to take the heat. You're the head coach. You're the one. You're prime time. You're Coach Prime, as you want to be called. Mm-hmm. So there's a big spotlight on you, Deion, and not necessarily the program. It's more so on you, which I get. Now, if you can handle it, that's great, because now the kids, they're taking all the pressure off of the kids because you're there. But that's still asking a lot from a person who's never really coached at such a high level. So, Jay,
it's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how Deion can handle this, because I know one of his big things was recruiting. The big name, that was his, big thing he was going to do. And now that you're getting penalized and they're taking away some of your recruiting opportunities, I just hope this thing isn't over before it got started. I don't think it will be, but he's got to get through this. It's a 2-year ban. It's a 2-year probation period, but that's rough, man. That's rough.
With him, the thing about him, he's a used car salesman. So he's, his name is going to bring a lot of weight. I hope it doesn't affect it too much, because kids don't, I shouldn't say that, because you'll get good. The kids that he wants are the kids that contribute immediately. And And if you're, as long as they're not, and here's the cool thing, they're not banned from the 1AA playoffs, are they? It didn't say that they're banned from there.
No.
Okay. So that's one thing, you can just say, hey, listen, you're going to play in a tournament, and that's one thing he's got for him. Like, yeah, if you play a bowl game in a big, okay, great. But here you're playing a tournament. So you're going to play 3 or 4 extra weeks after the season. That's a huge selling point. When I was in school at Holy Cross, I was in the Patriot League, and for whatever reason, they banned us from playing in the tournament, the 1AA tournament. And I had no idea why, because our basketball team could go to the NCAA tournament, which they did one year. And I'm like, well, if they're away, why can't we? What's the big difference? Or what's the difference between the basketball team and us? And I'll tell you what, my first 3 years, we had 30 wins, 2 losses, and 1 tie. So we would have qualified for the playoffs all 3 of my first 3 years. And my junior year, we finished number 3 in the country. So we'd have been going up against the Youngstown States of Jim Tressel. We'd be going up against the Sam Houston Southerns. We've been going to Northern Iowa's with Kurt Warner. Like, those are the teams that we've been going up in, because we had phenomenal teams. So we were not allowed, due to our conference rules, unfortunately. Well, fortunately for the school and the players now, that's changed. But back then, I'm telling you, we would have made some noise, man. We would have made some noise. I had All-Americans every year that I played with. Usually 2. Talking AP All-Americans that I played with. So we had a squad, man. So Jay, what's up with what you got on the show today, Papa?
Man, I got a big show today. We got a special edition because of the Bears. We are starting tonight at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. What's up, cuz? Myself with Lance Irvin. We're going to have Joseph Phillips. He's going to come on about 5:15, tell us the stuff he's working on. At 5:30, we got you. You're coming on our show. Did you know that? It's Shawn. Shawn is coming on at 5:30. You're going to talk about all the good stuff we're doing here at SportsZone Chicago. It's going to give us a chance to pat ourselves on the back with all the different shows we have here on the network. And then at 5:45, it's Ivan. Ivan is coming on the show. And he's going to talk about the Barely Pregame show. We're going to kind of be the lead in to his show. So we're doing a whole lot of cross-promotion. I don't know. That ain't even what we call that, inner cross-promotion of shows. And we're all just going to sit back and talk a little bit about what we've got going on here at the network. And we're going to preview the Bears game with Ivan and, whatever else we can come up with. So we got an hour show.
We'll call a team meeting, film study.
Yeah, we'll call it a public team meeting. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be good. Can't wait to talk about the shows. We have quite a few people, and we're always looking to add more, which is great. And I really like where we're going. I'm excited to where we're going. So it's I'm definitely looking forward to talking little Bears and then about what we got going here at SportsZone Chicago. So tonight, 5:30. So it'll be way before I'm inebriated. Because remember, we got to start early. All the bars in Chicago close at 10. So so we got to be out of there by the end of the third quarter.
I was wondering how that was going to work. I was wondering when she made that rule. I was like, did she not realize the game is Monday night? These people are going to be drunk.
They have another. They have 2 Monday night games, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. No, is it?
Or
it's another one after this, I think, or Sunday night or something.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely got a Sunday night game.
No. It's Monday against the Vikings, and then after the bye week, it'll be Green Bay on Sunday night.
There you go.
So you got two games that are going to be affected.
Mm-hmm. Woo! It's going to be real interesting. Well, they're not going to enforce it. Let's be honest. The police department.
We went from oh yeah, we might have fans at the Bears game to oh yeah, no.
Right. Right. I mean, the police are not going to be enforced. I mean, half of them going to be watching the game if they get a chance.
I don't know. You do know that Chicago loves their money. And
yeah.
They would love to go around like you're fined, and you're fined.
Hey,
I know you weren't making it. I know you weren't making any money because of COVID, but guess what? We're going to fine you now anyway. So.
Right. And I heard she's trying to now change the speed camera tickets now. If you're going 6 miles per hour over the limit, now the camera will hit you if you're doing 6 over.
Oh, they need their money. Hey, Daddy, baby, I got your money, don't you? Hey, she's not playing. She wants that money. Yeah, Chicago's in a rough thing. I'm glad I'm in the burbs now. It's still a little weird for me, but Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going on, and this 10 o'clock stuff is just ridiculous. Like you said, I'm wondering because I'm gonna go to my buddy's bar tonight to see it, and like I said, I'm gonna be out by the third quarter. Third quarter, we're probably gonna have to be out, because they close at 10. Last call's at 9:30, and who knows? I'll talk to my guy and I'll find out how much the fines are. If he got word, it could be a couple $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, whatever. And you're trying to make this, especially when you're not open on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. Well, listen, 3 hours is come and gone. We had a great show, man. Well, Joseph Phillips, we had some technical issues with that, but that was once in a lifetime deal. We don't have very many issues with him. Bob Nightingale, I want to thank him for calling in. Great stuff, man. He dropped some nuggets, huh, Ivan?
Oh,
wow! And Jason about the
it was something I always felt like to a certain extent, but when you hear it, it's like
about the script of Major League Baseball, crazy.
I feel icky. I want to go in the shower right now, just I feel icky about it.
Lucas Perfetti is a guy who is the first-time caller right here from the On Tap Sportsnet. He does the Bears On Tap podcast, and then my guy, you see him here, Jason Palmer. I want to thank him for coming in and with that big save when I went out with my internet. Then there's the man himself. I want to thank my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife, for everything he does, along with Elliot Baez, our technical director, and Clarence Council III, who is our social media guy. So for my partner in absentia, Maya Akai, and Jason Palmer and my guy Ivan Vargas.
Hey guys, remember, check out What's Up Cuz tonight at 5 on a special time, and then like Jason said, me and Michael Halatek. Well, Shawn will be coming in at 5:30, and then me and Michael Halatek at 5:45 with the Bear League pregame show, and then following that, me and Luke Nettles will be bringing you the pregame for the Basement Monsters podcast. Bears and Rams will be getting a little tipsy, watching the game, getting a little rowdy, see what's up. Hopefully it'll lead to a Bears win.
There you go.
Dude, that dude coming out in your little picture was number 33. It's nice.
I know.
Nice.
To be honest with you, Shawn, if you had the character I found, if you had the color, it looks like you on the Thunder.
Oh, nice.
I'm saying
nice. That's awesome. All right, guys. I'm your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra. We're going to take we'll see you later tonight on What's Up Cuz. But Shawn and Maya is going to take a little 45-hour break, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Same bat time, same bat channel, 9 a.m. to noon, Central Standard Time. So until then, download the app, subscribe to YouTube, subscribe to YouTube, and we out.
Bear down, baby.
Bear down, baby. Bear the freak down.